Poof. Hello, everybody. How is it going? I feel like I haven't seen you for like, more or less exactly a week. That's kind of weird, right? Now I have this like weird internal clock that says it has been exactly 7 days since I've seen you guys on stream here. Anyway, hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. Getting excited for a 3-hour-long Skyrim stream. 83 degrees and gorgeous out today, man. Lucky guy. We're actually getting down into the double digits here for the first time since summer began. I woke up today at 80 degrees flat and went outside and it was so nice. It's going to be up, I think, 99 here today, which, you know, is too hot for anywhere in the world. But when you're used to like 107, 110, it's going to be pretty nice, especially if you stay out of the sun. Wow, Arngear or somebody up here is really giving angry old man vibes here, just opening the window and yelling out to whoever might hear. Spreading a rage. Let's see, 90 Fahrenheit, 64 yeah, that's too much. Fort Myers, Florida. Yeah, 64% at 90. Yeah, that's gross. Hey, if you're decent, well, you know, 90 degrees isn't so bad. As long as you're not sweating too much. 64% humidity. Yeah, that would kill me. Yeah, we're very dry out here. Unless you get into the monsoon season, then we get up into the 64s with like 100-degree heat. That gets pretty gross. Yeah, 90 is nice. It's the humidity that's not great. How's everyone doing? Also, how was your week? Week was busy at work this week. It's been like that for a couple months now. It's like sometimes things slow down and I kind of can, you know, pursue things at my own pace a little bit because I'm the only one working on a project or something like that. And too many cooks in the kitchen will kind of spoil the broth or whatever they say. So I like to do things on my own. But sometimes, you know, you have deadlines, you have like hot items you have to fix, and it's kind of where I've been lately. And then, of course, the boss is dropping stuff on my lap out of nowhere as well. Built like a tiny tank, so I can tank more intense weather pretty easily. Hey, that's good. So you're like a dwarf with a high fortitude, if you're talking about if you're talking about Dungeons and Dragons with your name. James, welcome, buddy. Okay, so we have, you know, 8 people here. So I wanted to do a quick poll to see what kind of quest lines we want to pursue today. I wanted to, let's do a poll here. We're going to ask a question. What quest line today? And I'm going to put in the Mages Guild and the Thieves Guild. And these are sort of off-class options for quest lines, but I want to do these for 2 reasons, maybe 3 reasons. So one of them is I'm trying to unlock all the shouts so that I can find synergies and stuff for the warrior here. Second, there are actually useful items that you can find in both of these quest lines that Fortius can make use of, especially the Thieves Guild quest line. We get the Nightingale Bow, the Nightingale Blade, and Chillrend, all of which we can use as a pure warrior. So we have the shouts, we have the items, but then also I want to explore roleplay challenges. Like, why? Yeah, definitely off class. I want to explore the roleplay challenge of this. Like, why would a pure warrior take on a Thieves Guild quest line, and why would a pure warrior take on a Mages Guild quest line? So I want to. It's a challenge, right? But it's not undoable. And I think that these off-class choices often are the most interesting, and they can add the most flavor to a playthrough. Things that you wouldn't expect, and then they require more creativity. So then you get a better story out of it, in my opinion. Now, just because these are off-class quest lines does not mean that I'm going to be playing as a mage. I'm not going to be playing as a thief. whenever possible, I'm going to be going in guns blazing every time, right? So I'll give a few minutes on that. And then while you're all here, wow, we got 12 people already. Good, good. And it looks like we're getting a good response on the poll too. I've been thinking about changing up the format of my weekly live streams a little bit. Nothing like catastrophic or anything. I just want to add a little bit more structure and kind of make a little more of a variety show out of my weekly time slot here. 3 hours, I've been kind of feeling like at the end of the 3 hours, kind of like that home stretch, that last hour, 45 minutes, I start to lose steam a little bit. I start to lose viewers a little bit. I'm not blaming you guys or anything. Everybody's got stuff to do. But I kind of want to keep the engagement up a little bit, and I want to do whatever I can from my end to keep that up, but I also want to keep myself entertained. So the idea that I've been toying around with is kind of start the stream with some segments. So I can like start like the first 15 minutes talking about 15 or 30 minutes talking about news, Skyrim centric news, but then Skyrim adjacent news also. So we'll be talking about BGS, BGS games, what the studio's working on, different updates that they've made to the game, different things that they're working on for other games, but then also, you know, games that people play that also play Skyrim. So, you know, we had some overlap with things like Dragon Age, Dragon's Dogma, things like that, but also like hardware news, right? PC gaming hardware, state of gaming. Nothing really too in-depth. I don't want to become a news channel because I don't want to get into the news business. The news business sucks. It's just infighting opinions and rage. But I just want to like have a, you know, an open conversation about like, you know, what's happening and give us a chance to talk about that stuff in a more formatted segment so that, you know, I don't want to discourage like open format like discussion during like Let's Play and stuff, but then when we get to like the Let's Play segment, then we can like focus on making the most progress available possible and everything like that, but also give people more of a structure to talk about what's on their mind in the appropriate places. So I'm thinking like a gaming news segment at the beginning, and then we can do like a mods, like do a mod showcase section, like 15 or 30 minutes, where I can just load up a profile in MO2 that has some new mods, like maybe a new armor or a new city overhaul or something like that. And we can just walk through it a little bit, talk about it, see what you think. We can actually see armors and weapons in action with like, you know, animated armory patches and things like that, and physics, full physics in action, like with the, you know, flowing capes, or if it has tacits or something, or boobs. Everybody loves bouncing boobs, right? I don't actually have boobs physics in my game though, but I think that would be cool. And then I would also have the opportunity to do a creator showcase or a creator sort of get to know you type thing. So each week I'll be able to pick like one person and do like a 15-minute showcase of like their channel, what they're working on, what they're all about, the different characters they've done, things like that. And just updates about like new things that people in the community are doing with their channels and things like that. And then like the last half or so of whatever time we have left, which is going to be the bigger bulk of my 3-hour window here, we can focus on just doing a Let's Play or working on a character concept or something like that. And I think that I will need the community's help a little bit. So I'll post in some of the Discords like, okay, I need help coming up with news topics for this week's stream, or what kind of mods do you want to see in next week's stream, and what creators, you know. Karn said bulk. Oh yeah. Got news about Icarus. He's starting to plan and build. Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, I'm in Icarus's Discord actually, and I saw that he was working on a werebear, and it looks cool. I mean, he's a talented character creator for sure. Still need the thief character, yes indeed, and that has also been on my mind. As soon as I get like a free, I don't know, I probably only need like an hour or two to get that thing up and running. That's going to be more of a Let's Play than a character building thing, because I feel like there's only so much I can do with a thief as far as character building. But the real fun with a thief is the tension of the heist, right? And I want to focus in on that. But yeah, that is coming. So, what do y'all think? Do you think this is a good idea? Is this something you want to see, or do you like or do you sort of prefer the free form of just seeing me sit here play Skyrim and then we'll just talk about stuff as it comes up? I like the idea of being highly engaged in these more limited segments, and I also have the opportunity of splicing this into more content. Like I can have like a tiny little weekly news segment on the channel. I can have a tiny little creator highlight video per week, and I can split these all up from the Skyrim. I can mash them up in an editor and make an actual produced video of it. Yeah, thieves come online super fast, but it's also thieves are more about like, is this pickpocket gonna fail, or how do I remain hidden? What happens if I get caught? That's where the fun of the thief comes in my opinion. And that's how I'll build my thief character too. I have a mod which lets you convert Umbra to a one-handed sword. Oh, nice. That helps. Yep. Okay. Let's go ahead and stop the poll now. Let's see where we're at. Oh, well, it looks like Mages Guild have it easily at 73%. Yeah. Cool. I think I get more useful rewards from the Thieves Guild, but I'll do the Thieves Guild at some point too. Today we can focus on the Mages Guild. All right. So how's everybody doing today, by the way? I think I've asked a couple times, but the chat was moving kind of fast, so I didn't really get a chance to say hi to everybody individually. I saw Magus here. I saw Nobody. I saw The Wind. P. Miller. Cool. Pretty good crowd here today. Yes. Okay. So today I'm kind of just wanting to slow down a little bit. Like I said, I had a busy day at work, or a busy week at work. Oh, a Reef. Sorry, buddy. I saw you pop in too. Do you have a catchy newscaster theme music ready for the segment? No. I wasn't. I wasn't gonna make it too like cheesy or hammed up very much. I was just gonna kind of have like a little timer on the screen saying this is how long we have to talk about this topic in this segment, and then just kind of go from there, just to add a little bit of structure. The polish of like the catchy like newscaster themes and stuff I could add in later, right? Hybrid Avenger, welcome, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I've been playing Final Fantasy IV on my DS since last night. Already up to level 45. Love the classics. Hell yeah, man. There's something about those classics. I was thinking about this earlier on in the week. I was thinking about Diablo 4, actually. And it has the 2.0 version of Diablo 4 is coming out in like a month or so. And it's kind of like completely shot all my motivation to keep playing the game. Even though my Necromancer was like well on its way to doing top tier content and everything. But the reason why is they're changing the game so much with the next update that like all of like the legacy items and legacy skills and everything that you've obtained throughout on your eternal characters, they're pretty much going out the window. So you could have a top tier character going into the season, and then they changed everything up so much that now you have to like regrind, you have to refind all these items and everything. I was thinking about these older games and the experience. Actually, follow me, buddy. We're going to do a slower roleplay today, so I'm not actually going to be riding my horse up and down these icy stairs. I'm going to walk alongside him. It used to be back in the day you would buy a game, and that game's never changing unless they do like a remastered release or something later on. Like they kind of did with like Street Fighter and stuff like that. And there's a certain comfort to that, right? When you take a game off the shelf, take it out of its box and put it into your console, you know exactly what that game is going to be when you put it in. These days, games change all the time, even single player games. They just updated Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, in a way that makes a lot of sense for a lot of people, right? But they made one of the hardest bosses in the game and one of the hardest bosses in gaming in general, Radon, they made him a lot easier. So now beating that character doesn't mean the same, and they kind of changed up his attack patterns and stuff a little bit. Which is probably good for most people playing that game, but for the people who kind of relished the challenge and had a lot of pride in beating that character, beating that boss, now it kind of like invalidates that achievement, right? And then I was thinking about like doing like 1 credit clears in like Contra, or beating Super Mario Brothers 3 in like 10 minutes or something like that. That is like those skills are never going to go away. If you're ever feeling like need for like video game comfort food or whatever, you can always pop in those old games and be instantly transported back to like your childhood and simpler times, because those games are always going to be the same. But games these days just aren't. They just aren't. Even 11-year-old games like Skyrim, they update this thing all the time. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, but you know, they're typically changes that nobody really asked for, right? After 11 years. Or I guess it's 13 years now, in a couple months. Oh wow, did I never loot this? Guess not. Daedric Sword of Madness, 15% chance to randomly change the target's health? That is chaotic, and I kinda love it. We're taking that. We have to smith that thing up. Let's try to remember to get back down to our Hearthfire home, Lakeview Manor, and we'll smith that thing up, and maybe we'll use it today. Sounds awesome. That's an enchantment that I don't have yet. Yeah, so I was kind of just feeling nostalgic about stuff like that. I do actually. Here, let me show you here. Sorry in advance for any motion sickness this might cause. I have a Nintendo Entertainment System hooked up to my gaming monitor. And I can actually, I have a shelf full of old NES games that I've cleaned up and repaired and refurbished that I can put in anytime that I want. And I often do. I'll put in Mega Man, Super Mario Brothers 3, the classics, you know. And I am instantly transported back to my childhood during like a stressful week or something like that. And it's magical. It is magical. For the thief character, I'd recommend a red guard because the infinite stamina is really fun outside of combat. Yeah, I had already made up my mind on Argonian. I've had very little Argonian representation on the channel. I think the last one was the Argonian Ashlander, which is also another off-race class, I would say, that was very interesting, I thought. One of my favorites. They nerfed the final boss on the DLC, yep. You beat him before the nerf? Nice. Black Myth Wukong is also an awesome new game, 2 weeks and 18 million yeah, Black Myth, it's on my list to play. My backlog is huge right now, right? So there have been some new releases lately that I'm really into, talking about like old games that don't change. They actually did change these games, but the Marvel vs. Capcom collection came out on Steam just a couple days ago, and I've been playing that. I've plugged in my arcade stick. I've been playing some, you know, Gambit and Ryu team-ups. In X-Men vs. Street Fighter. Oh, the game is so good. And then just discovering new combos on my own in that game. Just beating the CPU. And then they also added really good netcode, rollback netcode to those. So now you have an official, you've been able to play them on Fightcade and emulation or whatever, but this is an official release. And this marks a momentous occasion for Capcom in these versus fighting games, because licensing has been a nightmare for Capcom trying to get these games out. And when they are able to secure licensing from Disney to get those Marvel characters, Disney's usually very heavy-handed about what characters you can use. And with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, that became a huge source of angst for the player bases. Now, they didn't want to let you use X-Men characters. You were focusing on Guardians of the Galaxies and Avengers characters and things like that. So I think the popularity of the game, public perception of that game really suffered because of that. But now it looks like because they are releasing these games again, and it was in the top 10 list of pre-orders for Steam. There's a lot of eyeballs on this. People are really happy to see these games come back. And I think that means that there's been a new leaf turned between Marvel/Disney and Capcom. And I think we're probably going to see a new Marvel vs. Capcom game at some point in the not too distant future, and I am here for it. Ireshot, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Hey, how did that cooking stream go? I missed it. I watched like 5 minutes of the archive or whatever, but like I said, I've been really busy this week and last week with work. But I know that cooking stream was something that you were looking forward to. So yeah, I've been playing the Marvel vs. Capcom stuff, and then Astrobot came out, and I've always been a huge PlayStation fan, and there's like a lot of PlayStation fan service, and just like the sheer joy and execution of that fan service in a 3D platform action game. I started playing that last night. It's fantastic. So I've been playing that, and then I've been trying to build up my character in Starfield for the Shattered Space DLC that's coming out. The DLC is looking like it might be a return to form for people who miss the handcrafted worlds. In an interview, they said that the world space is going to be like one of the spaces that you land at in Starfield, like a landing area, which actually is much larger than the entirety of Skyrim itself, but all handcrafted. Now, I think that they're probably exaggerating a little bit. It's probably not going to be completely filled with handcrafted stuff, because with how large those areas are compared to Skyrim, that would mean like a bigger full game than Skyrim is, and I don't see that happening. But it should be a return to form from what they're describing to something like Dragonborn or Far Harbor DLC for Fallout 4. And of course, you know, time will tell, but I'm here for it. Been excited for that one for a while. I really like BGS's world building and handcrafted content, environmental storytelling, things like that. And Starfield was not a good canvas for that kind of art. So now with one area that is very concentrated with handcrafted stuff, I'm excited to see how, you know, basically if they still got it. You may or may not like, you know, Fallout 4. Everybody has... Ooh, that is a headless corpse there. Yeah, don't look too close at that. That's gross. Everybody has their preferred BGS game, right? And everybody likes to sniff the farts of their favorite BGS game. So for Morrowind people, Morrowind will always be the GOAT, right? They're gonna sniff Morrowind's farts all day long. And Oblivion, Skyrim, they're all watered down trash compared to Morrowind, right? And it goes like that from entry to entry. Fallout 3 folks thought that Fallout 4 was watered down trash. But they still, even from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, their world building, specifically in terms of their environmental storytelling, where like you enter an area, you enter a dungeon, you see like a corpse in a very specific pose with a very set up, you know, there's a weapon here, there's a note here, and then you can start putting together the story of what happened to that person that died in that specific place. BGS does that better than any other studio, in my opinion, and they still do. And so now with Shattered Space, I'm looking forward to seeing all new handcrafted stuff instead of just copy and pasted POIs over and over again. So yeah, I'm clearing my schedule for Shattered Space. Obviously, I'm still going to be playing Skyrim because I play Skyrim all the time, and that's never going anywhere. That's what the channel is based on. That's kind of what my life is based on at this point, I would say. I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? Let's take a carriage ride to Whiterun. We'll give Pelgi a break here. Morrowind is just wacky chaos. Yeah, people who aren't Morrowind people say that, and like the progression on the combat, how like you just whiff shots until your skill gets high enough to actually hit somebody. I don't like that, but people who love Morrowind, right? I would honestly be okay with the computer-generated world that is then hand-modified. Well, that's how everything. That you see, Morrowind was like that too. They did a lot of procedural generation with Morrowind. It wasn't all handcrafted, but they took a procedurally generated world and then they handcrafted it to something very cultivated and very artistically done. And even Fallout 76, I don't really like MMOs. It's not my kind of thing. I have enjoyed Diablo, but I play that really as a single-player game. Fallout 76, for all of the things that it has wrong with it, its world building and its environments are fantastic. What is Starfield? Norm? No, you got that backwards, Magus. No Man's Sky is a third of the game that Starfield is. If you want to play No Man's Sky, take Starfield, take out all the combat, take out all the story, take out all the character progression, take out all the ship building and the outpost building, and take out all the main storyline stuff, and you're left with the exploration stuff. That's No Man's Sky. You tell me which the poor man's version of the other one is on that one. No Man's Sky does exploration better. It doesn't have anything else that Starfield has in it. It's literally like a fifth of the game that Starfield is. Let's see, cities. We're going to Whiterun. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. My goodness. Dark portents. Also, don't forget to smash the like button. Starfield is nothing but canvas. It's mostly canvas. Weird view. I actually like the Nuka Cola world. I like Nuka world too. Nuka was great. Everybody likes Far Harbor better because it's more of kind of a... It's more of a traditional storytelling experience. You had like this one main area that you looked in with, you know, there was one kind of story going on there. And it was less wacky, right? Nuka World was very wacky with all of the whole amusement park looking thing. If you wanted something more bleak and dark, Far Harbor was your thing, right? No Man's Sky was very bad on launch, but it has gotten way better. Yes, indeed. Oh, you are the Morrowind person. You, okay. But even you admit that it's wacky chaos. Yeah, that's the thing. And there's a character creator, there's a content creator called Blue Moose. He's newer. He's a British dude who comments on video games. He had an interesting quote that kind of resonated with me, especially BGS players, right? We learned to love our games despite the flaws, right? Now, at some point, we have learned to hate the games because of the flaws instead of loving them in spite of them, right? And a big part of that is just developers wearing us down with buggy releases, bad ports on these so-called quote-unquote quadruple A games. So yeah, it's not just people's perceptions that's changing. Some of these games are definitely getting worse and less value for your dollar, right? But some aren't, and there is a movement toward, I hate this game regardless of how it plays. I hate this game regardless of how good it is, and I hate this game so much that I'm gonna go onto Reddit even though I don't play it, and I'm gonna tell people how bad their game sucks. That's kind of a bummer to me. Modded Skyrim beats all. I agree. I totally agree. I still love Skyrim the best. As much as I love Starfield, and it's like I'm willing to argue with people who say that it's bad, I still think Skyrim is the superior game in a lot of ways. Not every way. In terms of gameplay, actually in terms of roleplay even, Starfield is the more open experience. I'll expound on that in a minute. Okay, we need one-handed. Where's my axe? There it is. Got a block, got a block. There we go. Contracted Witbane from a completely timed block. Good. Poking the bear with... Yeah, I know, Magus. All love. Yeah. I go on Reddit just for that reason. It's funny to watch Thin Skins melt down, and it's free. Damn it, Magus. God damn it. No, I'm kidding. But it's nothing compared to... Yeah, no, Skyrim, even acknowledging what Starfield does better than Skyrim, which there are some things that Starfield does do better than Skyrim. Skyrim has captured the hearts and minds and souls of people all over the world for the last 13 years for a reason, right? It's not all nostalgia. It's not all because of, you know, the modding community vastly improving the game over the last 13 years, which is part of it, but it's just, there's something to it. It's very magical, right? There's so many people who flock to this game time and time again after freaking 13 years and thousands of hours in the game, because the world that they built here in terms of, you know, just the lore, the aesthetic, all the way down to the wonkiness stuff that you should be knocking the game for as like lesser quality. People love that. Like hearing about how a guard used to be an adventurer like you until they took an arrow to the knee 1,000 times every day. Somehow people love that, right? I still love that. All the wonkiness is part of the charm. You look up in the air and you see a dragon flying backwards at like half the speed it's supposed to in the vanilla game with no mods. People should hate that, right? People should absolutely be knocking the game, saying that this thing is like the worst unpolished piece of garbage ever, but people love that shit. They'll post it on YouTube, it'll get 1 million views, and people will respond with things like, LOL, BGS never changed. LOL, I love Skyrim just because of this stuff. So yeah, the wonkiness and everything is part of the charm. But without like some underlying quality and some underlying like really good stuff that's there, you know, people would not feel that way. People would be saying this stuff is unpolished garbage. Hot take, the Outer Worlds is a better game than Starfield. I don't know that that's necessarily a hot take. I wasn't a big fan of Outer Worlds. I played it 10 hours 2 different times, and I bounced off it both times. I've played Starfield for 500 hours now, and I'm still not sick of it. Not much into space. That's the other thing, right? Nerds everywhere love the fantasy setting. There's a lot more that you can do with, you know, 10 different races, all the different lore that is built up over, what, 5 games and an online game and all the spin-offs now that they have to fall back on in terms of world building. Just the Elder Scrolls series has given people every opportunity to fall in love with this world. And that will transcend beyond games, right? The love of, you know, Tamriel and the history of Nirn and all the different races and all the different stories and the dragon breaks, all the different crises that you play through as the player character, the Nerevarine, the hero of Kvatch, the Dragonborn. These are all things that we can fall back on and fall in love with, but like With Starfield and Fallout to a lesser extent, because that does have a rich library of backstory and world building to fall back on. Starfield is just the history of the world until they discovered the grav drive, and then it was kind of made up from there, and it's really not that far into the future. So it kind of feels like the backstory and the world building is a little anemic, because it is compared to something like Skyrim and Fallout. But it's also the first new IP. It doesn't have the luxury of, you know, several other games worth of world building to fall back on. Elder Scrolls has been around since, what, Arena in the 90s, I guess? Maybe even the 80s? I don't even remember when that came out. It's probably the 90s. Fallout is the same way. Bethesda acquired that IP from, what was it, Black Isle or something like that, who had been doing Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, I think, for a long time. So they did have like the luxury of a ton of world building to fall back on there too. But Starfield is all new, and that stuff takes time. And also, like I said, most of the history in Starfield is just real world history up to the point where they discovered that grav drive. So the interesting, like, lore conversations and stuff aren't to be had. You can get that stuff with Skyrim, Elder Scrolls for sure. Here we go. Man, I took that fall like it was nothing. Imagine doing this in real life. That's like, what, 15 feet thereabout? Maybe a dozen? No, probably closer to 15. Imagine doing that in real life. Just hopping off the tower like that. Landing flat on your feet. God, that would kill me. Okay, yeah, the creations thing. Yeah, I can totally understand taking a hard line on the creation stuff. And it feels skeezy siding with the developers. But development costs have gone up along with everything else. If you want a fully featured game at launch, it's probably going to cost a lot more than $100. Maybe that'll change, but then I think the industry needs to start gravitating towards smaller games with more concise experiences than trying to, you know, do like an Assassin's Creed Ubisoft thing where they're desperately trying to create more and more hours in a campaign and just kind of artificially fill the voids with things to do in a very large open world game, when, you know, that costs so much money to develop something like that and takes so long, when you can have a smaller, more concise game, you know, from a smaller you could even do open world, but something more like Assassin's Creed Mirage, that's plenty of gameplay as long as the core gameplay loop is good and fun, and there are like different ways to play the game. You're gonna have a lot of replayability with a much cheaper game that didn't take nearly as long to develop. But a lot of it is also because of high fidelity textures and things like that. 4K gaming has become the norm now, and creating those 4K textures with all the details that hold up when you get close to a computer screen like we do, that takes a lot of time and a lot of compute resources and a lot of storage, and all that stuff is really expensive.
Go, my pets, attack!
Yeah, with Spellbreaker, this is going to be a walk in the park, most likely. We'll see how the collar fight goes. Wind is just going to be lurking. Okay. Yeah, creation stuff. Yeah, like I said, I can understand and respect taking a hard line against microtransactions and stuff. I do understand the sentiment that any microtransactions in a video game at all could sacrifice the integrity of the design of the game. If you're introducing microtransactions to a game, then the publishers are going to be very tempted to have the developers balance the game in a way that it becomes less fun unless you spend more money on it, right? I understand that. I can see how that could happen, but I don't think it always happens. I think it's pretty obvious when it does happen. It's probably less obvious when it doesn't happen because the well has already been tainted for those people. And publishers only have themselves to blame for that. So yeah, I get where you're coming from, and Bethesda has not been one of the good ones when it comes to microtransactions and paid content, right? On the other side of things, I do believe that some of that content is worth the money, but it's becomes really hard to kind of separate the grain from the chaff, right? If I'm getting a DLC size content drop for a decent deal for a reasonable amount of money, and it's all well done and high quality, then yeah, why not add more good stuff to your Skyrim? Not to say that you can't do as good with free mods, but you're not going to get the same experience. It's going to be a different quest, different stories, different characters, different NPCs. But if we're getting the same value as something like a Dragonborn DLC or Dawnguard DLC, then I don't really see the evil in that, right? It's just the fact that it's an independent developer over BGS themselves. I don't think really changes much.
Out. The prisoners. Here we go. Over here.
It's the microtransaction nickel and dime stuff. So the smaller the transaction, the smaller the DLC, the smaller the creation that you're getting, the less that it offers, the less value per dollar you're going to get from it. With something like the Dragonborn DLC, I think it was like $30 at launch or something like that. You got like a bunch of different quest lines. You got a full big island to explore, lots of items and gear and, you know, spells and shouts and stuff to use. It was a complete experience. And Far Harbor DLC was the same way. Nuka-Cola, or the Nuka world in Fallout 4 was the same way. If we get something like that in the Creation Club with high quality, it's fine. I don't think it's an all or nothing. I don't think it's all bad or all good. But I can understand and respect taking a hard line against it.
Really, I think there's been a mistake.
Not gonna question the morality. No, you don't.
Please, please let me out of here. You have to let me out.
Oh, Kyne's gonna be happy with me. Look at this.
I hope there aren't any more.
A little suggestion for the eventual thief build. Ordinator adds a few cool things in the lockpick tree, like bear traps, hacking dwarven automata. You can pretty much be a D&D artificer. Yes. Lockpicking skill tree in Ordinator is fan-freaking-tastic. I did have a build that I was working on before I actually did build guides and stuff. I was just doing kind of impromptu streaming. And one of my character concepts that I would like to get back to is a gadgeteer that uses, like, there was a mod that I found that does like dwarven landmines. So that coupled with the bear traps from Ordinator was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Starfield sequel would probably be a better game, but I don't see it being made anytime soon or maybe ever. Yep, I agree. I agree. I would like to see a sequel to it, but I would not like to see a sequel to it more than I would like to see a Fallout 5 or an Elder Scrolls 6 or 7.
Well, if you're sure, I'll just be on my way then. Please, do be careful. And thank you.
I think they acquired the Fallout series from Obsidian originally. first of all, hi Silent Echo, hope you're doing well. Obsidian, I feel like they had it at one point. I don't know if it originated with them, but I think they're, I don't know, it might have been one of those situations where like a lot of the key people from Black Isle, no, Black Isle was Baldur's Gate, right? I don't know. All those CRPGs, like the original Fallout series, Baldur's Gate, Path of Exile, they all kind of blend together. And Black Isle did some of them, Obsidian did some of them, and I don't remember who did what. And I know that there was a couple of different studios that worked on Fallout for a little while. That's a broken femur jumping off of that turret, yeah. So some of the original makers of the Fallout series started Obsidian. Fallout was made by Black Isle Studio, who later had member. Yeah, okay. So there was overlap in the studios. That's kind of what I was thinking. Chinese game studios have come a long way. So have Korean studios. Phantom Blade. Phantom Blade's going to be cool. That looks really cool. Black Myth, Wukong, Lies of P. Yes, indeed. Yes, they have come a long way. I feel like in terms of certain aspects of their gameplay balance, if you're gonna have like a character action game that stands the test of time, you really need to throw the power gamers a bone. And by power gamers, I mean those people who are gonna go for like replaying the game hundreds and thousands of times to get like better scores, work on their combos, doing combo videos for YouTube, or just like the higher rankings. Like I know Devil May Cry has like the triple S rankings and stuff that you try to get, and you have to keep your style meter up throughout like the full level to do that, and there's like a certain amount of strategy. If you don't have the balance just right on that, those hardcore gamers they're gonna play through the game once or twice and they're gonna drop it and they're gonna go back to Devil May Cry or Ninja Gaiden or something like that. And I feel like that's where, what was it, Stellar Blade, as good as that game was for like 1 or 2 playthroughs, the reports that I'm hearing on that from these more hardcore arcade action gamers are that the game just doesn't hold up for repeated plays, that the gameplay loop on it just, it's missing a lot of balance things that make the game better. Crimson Desert does look pretty sick. Will Spellbreaker hold off runes? No. If I run into another rune here somewhere, I'll show you, but it does not seem to hold off runes. I don't know if it goes like behind the ward, or if it just ignores the ward, because I know that runes will actually ignore surfaces as well, right? You can plant a rune on the bottom of the floor, and when an enemy comes and walks over it, it will explode and kill them. So runes do transcend physical barriers, and if it might do the same thing against wards as well. Little suggestion for the eventual thief build, yes. So yeah, the trick with the thief build is all of my builds are level 50 builds, and I'm at level, I'm knocking on the door of level 54 right now, but that just means 4 unused perks. So all the builds that I do, at least until I publish the build guide, I limit myself to 50 perks, and that's where the challenge comes in, right? Especially for these general pure class builds, is trying to find like a mage that is really good at all spell schools with only 50 perks, and then finding a warrior that can effectively use all weapons at only 50 perks. So the thief is going to be like, okay, how do I do all the thief stuff with only 50 perks? And that usually means that I have to neglect specialization in certain things, and I would kind of I would lump the bear trap stuff in with specialization. You can specialize an entire build on bear traps, but I don't know. The bear traps are so good, and they add so much gameplay diversity to just a sneak archer build that would be a thief, that would be a pure thief anyway. that I don't know if I can ignore it. I might have to use it. But I do also have to make sure that I get the perks for like the Thief's Eye, and then for pickpocketing, and then whatever the other one is for lock picking, because those are all very core to what a thief does, which is stealing stuff for profit, right? And it also feels really good when that stuff procs. And that's really the essence of the thief, more so than like a bear trap. But yes, I'm a big fan of the bear traps myself. The automata hacking is a little more, that is specialized, right? What the hell? That's not the button that I pushed. My finger wasn't even on that button. Must have been a glitch on the quick save or something.
Is someone there? I knew it.
Can't handle the bum rush, huh? So I played a thief build that would regularly set up traps with tripwires and bear trap. Tripwires are another one. You could actually trip somebody with a tripwire into a bear trap, and that shit is amazing. That's so fun. Sneak tools might be a good ad for a thief. Yes, I've played with sneak tools before. I found them kind of hit or miss, actually. So the noisemaker arrows that comes with, I've found to be more or less useless because the regular arrows that you would fire out of a crossbow or a bow and arrow would be just as effective. One of my favorite things to do was use the water arrows to shoot out the lights. The grappling hook was kind of cool, but it was very wonky. Especially now that we have things like the clamber mod that allows you to climb up on certain ledges and things like that, right? Oh, there's Haster. Thank you for joining, Haster. Obsidian created New Vegas, BGS published it. Yeah, but there were some people from the original Black Isle that created Obsidian. Yeah, there were Fallout veterans on the Obsidian team already when they did the New Vegas spin-off. So what do you guys prefer? Do you prefer New Vegas or Fallout 3? There's a lot of New Vegas fans out there, but I think that in terms of just sheer popularity from like the gaming community as a whole, I think Fallout 3 is probably the more preferred one. The Fallout New Vegas fans are more vocal about it, but I feel like if you polled not like the hardcore Fallout fans, not the hardcore role players, not the hardcore Skyrim fans, but just general gaming audience that have played both games, I think that they would probably prefer Fallout 3. Nobody in Dungeons prefers New Vegas. You could set up runes in your oil pool for a given element. That's pretty cool, yeah. Are you talking about the alchemy perk? I use traps and tripwires for my shadow scale build like a ninja. Hell yeah. Guerrilla warfare is awesome in this game. I have a build which tripwired an enemy into a bear trap, activating a rune, triggering an alchemy pool. Holy shit, that's awesome. New Vegas took Fallout 3's formula and just made it better. Personally, I vastly enjoyed Fallout 3, the Fallout New Vegas. I liked the little side stories that it told better. I thought it was handled more creatively. And I thought it was funner to play. But it's funny that you mentioned that. The Fallout New Vegas is probably more Morrowind style. So if you're a Morrowind fan, I can totally see how you'd prefer New Vegas. I thought the moment-to-moment, just the things that you did, the storytelling, the little side, like the little vaults and stuff that you would enter with these messed up, like tripped out stories and everything. I thought it just captured my imagination better than anything that happened in New Vegas. New Vegas did like the dialogue stuff and it handled factions a lot better. Not accepting Hermie. We're sticking with Ebon Arm, I think. For you, Fallout 3 just felt too empty? I thought Fallout New Vegas felt empty. I don't know, the factions and the I can't seem to, I keep slipping off to the sides of this person. I felt like the factions and stuff, the diplomacy, I don't know, I was just kind of bored by it. I still enjoyed it. I played all the way through it. One of the better sort of action RPGs. But I prefer the BGS style to the... Maybe I'm... See, that's the thing. I grew up with arcade games, action games on the NES, the Super Nintendo, stuff like that. So gameplay to me it counts for a lot. That gameplay loop is, if it's fun, that kind of means the world to me. If it's fun enough that I can... Ooh, Daedric double axe, huh? Thing looks wicked. Do I have the encumbrance for it? I do not. And I'm already wearing my backpack, but I do have these pouches that I can put on. There we go. Instant carry weight.
Someone there?
Oh god. I mean, okay, Fallout New Vegas was your cliche Western revenge story, but raised to the nth. But I enjoyed it. Plus, story of Ulysses and Joshua Graham made it even more beautiful, in my opinion. Yeah, I guess that's the thing, right? New Vegas was smaller scale, but more personal. Would you think that would be fair to say? I mean, in Fallout 3, you know, you're searching for your dad, which is also cliche, right? But to me, Fallout 3 wasn't about the main story. It was about these creative little side stories here and there and everywhere. Like the, oh, what was the guy? Was it the Gary Vault? And the one where you plugged yourself into, like the hollow pod or whatever they call them to relive the massacre of this neighborhood. And it kind of zaps you into the the body of this child that turned out to be like the butcher of this neighborhood with this gigantic butcher's knife. So you're running around chasing your neighbors as a small child with a butcher knife, like into the streets, just in pure chaos. But you could like complete that quest and murder your neighbors in any way. It's like this weird, dark little stories that this very dark humor that just, I don't know, maybe I'm a really messed up person. But that stuff really makes me laugh. I just remember chasing as a child, not in real life, but in Fallout 3, playing as a child with a gigantic butcher knife that I found in my mom's kitchen and just chasing the neighbors all down the streets with this knife. It's making me laugh now. Yeah, it was stuff like that won my heart for Fallout 3. But if you're looking for like the heavier, deeper, more personal stuff, I would agree Obsidian does that better. Now, I wouldn't say that that makes Obsidian objectively better storytellers than BGS. I think it's a lot more nuanced than that, and of course it's all opinion, right? There's nothing that's objective in art. There's nothing that's really objectively better, except for some very small, limited examples. If you say something is objectively trash, that is art, like a video game or a story or something, then you're probably objectively wrong. Except for, you know, like I said, very limited situations. Some games are objectively bad. Most are not. Especially with things as subjective as, like, story, right? Or art style. Or pacing.
What was that?
Yeah, eat it. Really? You know what's gonna happen. Ooh, we got a one-handed level. Okay, now we're up to 94. So we're well beyond training in one-handed. Maybe it's just that I don't know where to look in Fallout 3, but Fallout New Vegas definitely had more stuff. I mean, on a technical level, maybe it did, but just from a subjective, you know, what I remember. I remember running from the starting area to the powder keggers or whatever, the guy in the blue shirt that you find in New Vegas, and then running from there to the strip. Without having a sprint key or any kind of horse, or because you haven't found the area yet, you haven't found the map marker, that you're basically walking everywhere all the time. And that, to me, maybe it's just because it was the desert landscape, which I guess all post-apocalyptic landscapes are desert landscapes. I don't know. I was born and raised in the desert, so to me, it's a very boring landscape. Every once in a while, you'll get a stunningly beautiful vista. But if the desert landscape is foreign to you, maybe the same amount of time that you spend there is gonna feel quicker because it's a new environment for you. But for me, since I spent my entire life in it, it just kind of dragged. The travel time, going from one place to another to get to the next story beat or whatever, it really dragged on me. In a way that I didn't feel in Fallout 3, for whatever reason. Now, another huge factor that it could be is that I didn't play Fallout New Vegas till after I played Skyrim. And Skyrim... Oh, geez, how did that not... I guess Atronachs are immune to knockdowns? Oh my god, really? I got a lot of elemental resistance here. This is on legendary difficulty. I was just letting her pelt me. And that's not a novice ice mage, that's an apprentice one. Now, of course, it is going to take a bite, but the resistances are quite good. And a lot of that is coming from... Actually, I really don't mind doing a level up right now. Let's see. I was putting 3 into health and 1 into stamina. I think my stamina levels are pretty good. So let's go 4 health and 1 into stamina. So 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. A lot of this resistance is coming from this heavy armor perk called Apocalypse Proof, I believe it is. Oh no, Out of the Inferno. Apocalypse Proof is the block one that I didn't take because I have Spellbreaker. Out of the Inferno, incoming fire, frost, and shock damage reduced by 0.02% of armor if wearing all heavy armor. So this doesn't sound like much because 0.02% is a really steep cut, right? But if that is not respecting the armor cap, which I don't think that it does, I'm able to overcap my armor rating to over 1,000, and that's going to give me over 20% resistance right there. But then I also have this helmet that comes with the AE edition. It's the Ebony Spell Knight helmet. It comes pre-enchanted, so I didn't even have to do this myself. But this gives you 20% resistance to all magic, so that's 40 right there. And this is all multiplicative, which is kind of counterintuitive, because if it's multiplicative, you just add the numbers together instead of adding the percentages of the values together. So you can just add the percentages together. Skyrim, for the most part, is all multiplicative. So that's 40. I have the Agent of Mara, which gives me another 15, so that's 55%. What else do I have? I got more, too. Silver ring, is this? Nah. Well, heavy armor grants 13% more armor, so that's just boosting armor, which boosts resistance. There was something else. Maybe it's in the active effects. Anyway, I think I calculated in the last time I did the stream, it was something like 75 or 80% of incoming elemental damage reduction. Which is good. Butcher Pete. I did know about the racetrack. Two games that I randomly rate as good stories is Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4. Yeah, Far Cry gets a lot of help for being an Ubisoft game, but I actually really like the Far Cry series. Far Cry 3 was a fantastic story. The biggest complaint I had about Far Cry, Far Cry 3 was that you played as a giant raging douchebag. I hated the character you're playing as. And all of his friends. He kind of deserved everything that he got. But the gameplay was good. The story had twists and turns. The NPCs, the main baddies, I guess, they were all very compelling. Fallout 4 I haven't played, but I've heard that was... Far Cry 4, I've heard, was also kind of like that as well. Far Cry 3 is a classic. That was such a good game. They haven't made a good game since Far Cry 5. When was Far Cry 5? I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think, was the last... No, there was another one. Assassin's Creed Odyssey I played and I really enjoyed, but I got like 110 hours into it, and that was enough. 110 hours in any game is actually really good these days. Most games are designed to be played for like 30 or 40 hours. Of course, playing Skyrim and being BGS players and things like that, we tend to play games for hundreds of hours, if not thousands. Oh my god, this is driving me nuts. Here we go. But typically, mainstream gaming audiences, they feel pretty good about their purchase if they get 30 or 40 hours into the game, and then they will they will tout to you. Like, I was wearing a Fallout hat to Costco the other day, and the cashier commented on it. It was a younger dude, a lot younger than me, but he was like, "Dude, I love Fallout 4 so much. I put like 80 hours into it," and I was like, "Ha." Kids these days. No, it was kind of cool to be able to bond with the younger generation over the shared love of something, but yeah, 80 hours in Fallout 4 is not as much as you think it is, buddy. You had a build which only put 3 to 5 perks in every tree, and it was very powerful. I could actually see that. If you go deep enough into each of these skill trees in the specific sub-trees,
how nice to meet you.
Yeah, you can do some pretty crazy stuff, especially if you're synergizing properly and stuff.
Names
cool.
no longer matter. You may refer to me as the Caller. No,
AC Rogue was really good for the combat mainly.
Such a mess.
AC Odyssey is good, and same plates about 150 hours. I haven't played it since.
So you're just one of Aaron's laggies. That's disappointing. You show real promise. You come here, kill my assistants, disrupt my work.
I do have AC Valhalla
Be giving you anything.
on my backlog. I do have it on my shelf and in my Steam backlog. I know people had beef with that game, but it looks fantastic to me. And if I can get through it in about 100 hours again, with the same with Odyssey, then I'll probably enjoy it. But I know that there was like, even Odyssey had this stuff too.
Oh, now we're all pleased and thank
The
you. I'm
gatekeeping,
afraid
where you had to get to a
we're
certain
well
level in order to
beyond
unlock
pleasantries.
certain content on the
I'll
map
allow
or
you the
whatever.
opportunity to turn
I've heard the
around,
biggest
walk
critique
out that
about
door,
Valhalla
and
was
never
that,
come
again, it was
back.
empty. People have the same
suggest
complaint
you
about
move quickly.
Starfield. But, yeah, just the amount of, like, just grinding levels you have to do just to
Take them
unlock,
and
like,
be gone.
different areas of the
Never
map.
return here, or else you'll face my full
Man, I really
wrath.
wanted to do the fight here. Let's reload. I have... What is AC Rogue? I don't think I've ever even heard or seen anything about AC Rogue. Try not following the road. I've had
So
more fun
you're the
finding
one who
ant-infested
barged into
racetrack
my
outside
home
of
and
Grim
laid
than
waste
I
to
ever
my
did in Fallout 3.
projects. How
I think I
nice to
unlocked
meet
most of the
you.
map in Fallout New Vegas. Who are you?
So you're just one of Aaron's lackeys. That's disappointing. You show real promise.
That 3 to 5
You
perks
come
build,
here,
let me
kill my
basically be a
assistants,
jack of all trades,
disrupt
master
my
of all.
work.
Yeah, kind of like
You've annoyed me, so I don't
a
think I'll be giving
shallower
you
version of
anything.
what I'm doing with this in the mage build, I guess. We're trying to be jack of all trades for each one of those classes. But if you're spreading them across like all skills,
I'm afraid you don't have anything worth trading. Now, you can go back to your college and leave
especially
me
with
be,
Ordinator, it's
or I
yeah,
can
there.
kill you.
As long as you're hitting a
Your
few key
choice.
perks, you can be generally very powerful without specializing in anything. Let's see.
Oh, I'm afraid I'll
Is there
allow
just
you the
any way that I can
opportunity
force her to
turn
fight me?
around, Walk out that door and never come back.
I don't have the
suggest-
option to make her
Fine.
fight me.
Take them and
That
be
sucks.
gone. Never return here, or else you'll face my full wrath.
All right. Well, I've just ended up talking about video games in general, and I haven't really been doing any roleplay as promised. Fortius is a man of honor, right? He's gonna keep his word. There are other characters that I've had that would kill her outright. I really wanted to fight her though. Speaking of roleplay with the warrior, I was gonna talk about like why would a pure warrior like Fortius have any interest in doing this Mage's Guild quest line, right? And that is because in order to know your enemy, you have to learn your enemy, right? And in order to fight your enemy, you have to know your enemy. So it's all about kind of like intelligence gathering and becoming stronger. Oh man, there's a boss chest in there. I don't really need the loot at this point. And Fortius is a very tactical, very sort of heady warrior. He's not just a meathead, right? He is living the warrior life fully. He's buying completely into it. And that doesn't mean just charging into battle like a madman, like a barbarian, right? He is going to use tactics. That's part of being the warrior, right? It's not just knowing how to swing a sword and an axe really hard. It's knowing the tactics of a fight, how a battle, pitched or otherwise, can go at any moment, and being able to come up with plans, strategies, and tactics that will put him in the best place for victory, regardless of what that might be. But then also having backup plans and backup plans for your backup plans. So a lot of that is intelligence gathering. And if he is... Okay, it's one thing to be trained as like a legionnaire and to be able to fight Stormcloaks in a pitched battle alongside a bunch of other legionnaires. That is only just one aspect of martial skill. He also may have to fight mages at some point. He may have to fight assassins. He may have to fight warlocks, necromancers, dragons, other creatures, hunters that might have tamed animals. So he needs to be able to fight animals. All kinds of things. He might have to learn how to deal with, Draugr who can shout. Other enemies that have had some training in the voice, like Ulfric. He needs to know how to fight against that stuff, and the best one, maybe not the only way, the best way to learn how to fight against it is to learn how to fight as it. Get to know your enemy is how you're going to get to know how to fight them. So this is giving him valuable experience with mages, fighting alongside mages, fighting against mages, and it's going to be invaluable for him to be able to craft up these different tactics and strategies to use. If he knows he's going to be fighting a bunch of mages, he knows what equipment to bring. He knows what tactics to employ, how to move, when to attack and when to defend. I don't see a dragon up here. Have I already fought this dragon? Maybe it's an invisible dragon. Let's try this. Actually, in my load order, for some reason, if I quick load a quick save when I'm on a horse, I end up spawning like 50 feet in the sky and plummeting, usually to the horse's demise, and I don't want to do that to Pelgi. Yep, there it is. That was an invisible dragon. Gotta be smarter than the game sometimes. Oh, the pirate version of AC. I thought that was Black Flag. If you leave the dialogue early, she usually aggroes. Damn. Okay, I saw chat too late. Deathclaws are around the excavation site near Good Springs. Nobody dungeons. Mage hunters usually study all the same things as mages. You're deep in roleplay. Yes, indeed. So it's kind of like, in order to learn the Abyss, you have to look into the Abyss, but you gotta, be careful that the Abyss doesn't look back into you, type thing. Witch hunters, things like that. Paris Songvi, welcome. Hello, how are you? Lurking on your channel for a bit now. Thought I'd say hi. Hey, no problem. Glad to have you. I always love it when people who've been lurking on the channel for a while stop in to say hi. It's like an old friend that you never met. Well, welcome aboard. Don't be a stranger, okay? Drop in and say hi anytime. You play as a Breton Spellblade. Nice. What kind of weapon and spell combos do you like to use for your Spellblade? Okay, let's see. Should I? Okay, I haven't done the main quest all the way through yet, so I don't have Dragon Rend, which would be the most effective way of taking this guy down. But I can fire off some arrows at him. Okay, I'm going to do a quick save here, and then I'm going to try to get some archery training. Let's see how well my resistances are stacking up. Problem is, okay, so Spellbreaker is going to be extremely effective against the Dragonfire, right? Oh, really? Okay. Not gonna like how this goes, buddy. This is an ancient dragon, so... Oh, okay. He's insisting on fighting me on the ground. Ooh. That tail attack is rough, man. Okay, does he have the life to be able to sustain flight up there? Oh my god, he's making me dizzy. Now he doesn't for sure. I got him to stagger. Ooh, Ice Dragon, huh? That was nothing. I really wanted to see how my passive resistances held up against high-level dragons. Probably would have hurt, but he insisted on fighting me on the ground for some reason. Let's see, how am I doing on encumbrance? Pretty low. Let's drop off some stuff on the horse here. One-handed destruction, restoration, alteration, light armor, smithing, and enchanting. Okay, all solid. His name is Jackson Bennett. Oh, there was talk about the Sneak Tools mod. I'm thinking about removing it from my load order because it has some weird interactions with some Sacrosanct abilities. See, Sacrosanct is always going to beat Sneak Tools for me. Sneak Tools is cool, right? But it's more of an immersion thing. It's not necessary. There's a lot of things in Sneak Tools that you can do with vanilla stuff. I mean, the grappling hook is cool, but it's janky, right? It's probably not something that I would turn into a main mechanic for my thief build. The water arrows are cool, but you can just kind of avoid light, and once you get to a certain sneak level with certain sneak perks, and you don't even have to avoid the light anymore, really. Let's see what else. The blackjack is the knockout. Is a mechanic that you can't do in vanilla without like paralysis or things like that. So I guess I could just reverse pickpocket a paralysis poison, and it pretty much has the same thing as the blackjack for the knockout mechanic. In my experience, anyway, too, the knockout kind of framework that the thief tools require for that. It was kind of janky. It was buggy for SE. It never really worked 100%. I really kind of want stuff that's solid in my game. That being said, I do have Arcanum in my game, and that thing is not... Well, you know, actually the spells, they work really well. The bugs don't have to do with the spells and the effects themselves, as far as I've experienced. So, for the most part, that's fine. It's just... the areas mainly causing crashes to desktop that have been my issue with Arcanum. And Arcanum gives you things that you can build an entire character, like one spell that you can center an entire character around and feel like you're having a novel, completely new playthrough. So that's worth it in my opinion. The Sneak Tools, it's a cool mod, but like I said, more of an immersion thing. You're playing a Batman style character. It adds things that you can do with a thief that maybe you couldn't do before, or at least just makes them easier. What's your plan for your thief weapons design? Well, a pure thief is archery only for offense, right? And then we talked about bear traps. I'll probably integrate some of the bear traps from lockpicking into it as well, just to add more gameplay variety. So the Bow of Shadows, because the thief also is not a mage, a pure thief doesn't have any magical ability. So Bow of Shadows, adding that invisibility effect is kind of a no-brainer for a thief. And Bow of Shadows is also, like, I think it's on par with either Dragonbone or Daedric bows as far as base damage, and it's even faster than Zephyr as far as its draw speeds. So Bow of Shadows is going to be probably the main bow. It's kind of a no-brainer, actually, right? Because for a sneak archer, you really don't care about the magic effects. Okay, let's see how my resistances hold up against an Atronach and a Dragon Priest. Okay, a little more burst damage. That was a fireball. Not bad, huh? Okay, so 3 shots got me down to about half life. It made me a little uncomfortable. But we've already recovered half of the life. Really? You gonna go scale that cliff? Just to get away from me? Man, too easy. Too easy. As Guile from Street Fighter would say. Shayna O'Hare, Skyrim after all these years, freaking best as always. Yeah, we were just talking about the staying power of Skyrim opposed to other games. Captured the hearts, souls, and imaginations of players for 13 years. People are still playing this. A lot of people are still playing this. Of course, I'm playing heavily with mods right now to just kind of bring it up to modern standards of gaming, you know? It looks nicer, plays nicer. But it's still just Skyrim. Do you have the Arquebus mod installed? I do not. Arquebus. What's the Arquebus? That sounds so familiar. Is that like a Harry Potter thing? That sounds really familiar. I got too much nerd shit in my brain. I can't keep track of it all. Educate me in the ways of the Arquebus. Oh, the Creation Kit gun mod. Okay, it's a gun mod. No, I don't have it. I'm not opposed to it. Is it a paid mod or is it free? It's probably I think it's paid, right? I might be opposed to it if I have to pay for it. I think there are gun mods on the Nexus that are free. It is paid. Yeah, I thought so. It doesn't look bad. I know which one you're talking about now. They're more like musket style. They look a little goofy. My problem with a lot of the like official armors and weapons for Skyrim is that they're kind of LARPy, right? They're kind of big and thick and overblown, and they just kind of have that like puffy plastic look to them. And the Arquebus kind of is the same way. That gun mod, it almost looks like they're muskets from the World of Warcraft game. And as you can tell by my armors and stuff, the armor that I'm using is actually AE. I think this armor is really well done from that pack. But the weapons that I'm using, they're all more like realistic, a little more understated. For the aesthetic of my game, I like a more realistic, understated look for my equipment and my weapons and armor. But then for my perks and my perks and my spells and stuff, I like to go like really overboard. So vanilla Skyrim is kind of the opposite for me, right? Where like it seems like the magic, the spells and stuff are a little bit subdued and understated, and then the weapons and armor are kind of like overblown, a little bit overdone. Like the weapon, the two-handed sword that I'm wielding is very realistic. The long sword here. That is a beautiful sword, right? And the one-handed axe, this is from God of War. This is actually pretty understated as well. It's ornate on the handle and the pommel, and the blade has some runecraft on it that looks very nice, but it's not like overly thick. It still looks sharp, right? It's scaled well. It's not like overly sized. It does have a very realistic look to it. Now something like, well, the Dragon's Team, that's something like the vanilla Iron Greatsword. It's like very thick. It looks like it's like 3 inches thick, right? And you can almost see the plastic seams on them. So I mod my game to kind of, you know, thin those out a little bit shape them out better, make them look a little sharper, a little more realistic, and then I'll add magic mods that really just blow everything out of the water. Oh, Haster's posting, there's a free gun mod that adds both rifles and pistols and a variety of bullets. Sweet. Yeah, actually, I think I saw one of these in one of Icarus's playthroughs. I can't remember. It was his vampire assassin, his Red Guard vampire assassin with like the southern kind of Cajun accent. This might be the one that he was using. Actually, I don't know. I don't think this is the one that he was using. This one doesn't look bad though. That actually looks pretty sick. Almost Bloodborne style. Yeah, so these are all basically remodeled crossbows, right? The mechanics are all exactly the same, and I think the Arquebus one is as well. And crossbows always acted... That looks pretty cool. The crossbows always acted like shotguns in other video games where you have like the long pump animation, and then... that's your reload, and you can't pull the trigger again until you do the pump action on the shotgun. But to compensate for that, they usually made each shot very powerful as long as you were close enough. So it's kind of like a high risk, high reward, because you got to be close to your enemy in order to get the most out of it. But then you had the long slow fire rate because of the pump action on it. And with the crossbows, you don't really need to be close. It is very effective from far away too, but you still need to do the full reload animation before you can fire off another shot. And with the bow and arrow, you can just not pull the string all the way back to get off another shot if you need to. Okay, we got a poor innocent creature over here that we have to slaughter in the name of Kine. Yeah, Kine is pleased with my actions. You know it is. Dawnguard armor is the best vanilla armor in my opinion, but Nord War makes great armor replacement. Yeah, I'm actually using some of them. I think Nord War is what I'm using for the guard armor replacers, and he might... Actually, I don't know if they're a he or she. They might do some of my faction replacers too. Things like Silver Hand, Blood Horkers, and stuff like that. Very cool looking stuff. A giant. Should we test our metal against a giant? It would be a good way to get some... Actually, am I full up on block yet? Be a good way to get some block training. Yeah, I'm all full up on block. Let's see. Enchanting is capped. Smithing is capped. Heavy armor is capped. Block is capped. Two-handed is capped. One-handed needs 5 more. Archery needs a lot of help. So let's just get some one-handed skill training on this giant here. Again, roleplay-wise, Fortius here as a warrior, he is doing his best to learn how to fight all different kinds of foes, giants included. What's up, buddy? Wow, this is a really... Oh, man, I feel bad. I love the giants, especially when they're, like, not threatening at all. Is he running away from me? Man, now I feel even worse. That was a really friendly giant. That was the BFG. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do it. I can't do it. I need the training. But that dude is just too chill. And it got really dark out here all of a sudden. Look at this. Even my lantern is subdued. There must be like a fog or something going on. Okay, I see a brazier over there. Autocorrect being a butt. Do you guys roleplay while playing Skyrim? Yes, indeed. In fact, I meant to roleplay today, but I ended up just kind of chatting with chat the entire time. I did some roleplay there too, where I was like, all right, Fortius, he's desperate to learn how to fight other enemies, right? So he picked a fight with a giant. The giant ended up being cowardly, so he's not going to chase down somebody who's running from him that didn't want the fight in the first place. So I'm not going to chase down that giant just to get some one-handed training. Things like that. I do have a full backstory for Fortius as well. Oh, geez! Actually, that wasn't too bad. Oh, yeah, that's where the itch was. By the way, I played from the very beginning of this game, from this playthrough, on Legendary difficulty. I'm running Wildcat, which adjusts some damage numbers here and there, but also tweaks the AI to make it much more aggressive. It doesn't really tweak incoming damage much. It does make you stronger to make enemies less spongy. But yeah, this is encouraging. Oh, now Puppy wants to play too. The cat and the dog want to play. Do I have something to fetch? We'll play Peekaboo. Peekaboo! Oh. Oh my gosh. Fortius is too strong. Look at these biceps, by the way. These are the kind of guns that are slaying these creatures and that are impervious to saber cat strikes. Yeah, Fortius works out. Do you have the intimidating presence perk? I do not believe so. No, it's over here on the left side. Break upon me. The primal fear. If wearing all heavy armor, walking but not running towards living enemies within 30 feet in front of you, may break their confidence, causing them to flee for 8 seconds. I do not have this one. I would definitely put this on like a Death Knight. But for a level 50 build with only 50 perks, I felt that these subtrees over here were more generally viable, more generally useful for a jack of all trades warrior. Yeah, it does. And I might end up doing that. It is easy. I would like... I didn't get to fight the giant to kind of test that out, but I would assume that he's not that much of a challenge either. There are some dragons, like that ancient dragon. I was really curious to see how hard his elemental shouts would hit me, how bad they would hurt. But he insisted on fighting me on the ground, so I didn't get a judge on that too. And then, of course, we got to worry about Mirak. We have to worry about Karstag eventually. Alduin is probably going to be fine. And of course, what's his name? The Volkahar dude. So many nerd names to remember, and I'm losing track. Who's the Volkahar guy? Harkon, thank you, Pastor. I knew you'd come through for me. Harkon, yes, indeed. Yeah, so those are hard fights that, you know, if you slide too much, those are going to become just brutal. But for these, this is going to become a warrior build guide, an Anirim warrior build guide at some point in the next month or two, I would surmise. And for that, I want there to be kind of just like a regular baseline to be able to say, okay, if you're running Wildcat out of the box, this is the kind of power you can look forward to at level 50. If I start tweaking damage values and stuff, that baseline goes away, even though it might make for a more challenging, more enjoyable playthrough for me. I'll probably tweak that after I get the build guide out and can kind of just continue playing on my own for my own fun. But for now, I'm keeping it at just stock legendary. I have some mod I don't know. It makes even novice difficulty hard, but could be one of the animation mods. I would be interested to know. I would be interested to know what mod that is, because I am also. Ooh, that moon is beautiful. I have been running Shadow of Skyrim for a while, but even at lower levels, I don't die a lot anymore. I've played this game for thousands. Let's see. Let's pull up Steam. Almost 4,400 hours in Skyrim. Next closest one is Starfield at 470 hours, and then Cyberpunk at 425 hours. So, yeah, the challenge becomes a little trivial after a while. And I don't want things that alter the game on a fundamental level too much, but I've been getting things like Know Your Enemy, or I've been looking into things like Know Your Enemy, Know Your Armor, and maybe things like bandit overhauls and stuff like that that make it more of a challenge. Recommend Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon? Dragons are trivial if you have shock damage. Their breath weapon counts as 0 magicka spell, but if you can deplete their magicka bar, they think they can use it, so they're forced. They don't think they can use it, so they're forced to melee you. Okay. Yeah, is that a mod or is that a game? Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon, or is that an anime? It's a game on Steam based on a tabletop RPG. Okay. Yeah, I have a harder time getting into like CRPGs, like the tabletop based ones like Baldur's Gate and things like that, because like I said earlier, I kind of started my gaming journey on arcades and excuse me, action gaming on things like the NES and Genesis. So I have arcade action gaming roots, and that's what I'm drawn to. Not to say that I haven't enjoyed Baldur's Gate games from the past, because I have. I just have to be in the mood for it. I'm almost always in the mood to plug in a fight stick and play a fighting game, or to plug in Skyrim and kill some enemies, or Diablo 4 or something with like a very action-oriented gameplay loop to it, right? Tabletop gaming, I gotta be in the mood. Gotta be in the mood. It takes more energy, maybe counterintuitively, it takes more energy for me to play a CRPG or a tabletop RPG than it does for me to play an action-oriented arcade game, even though, you know, physically it might be more taxing because you're pushing a lot more buttons, especially if you're using an arcade stick. You're making wider throws with your arm. And then, of course, just the reaction times and focus that you need to be able to succeed at those games is taxing on its own. But for me, I need more focus to play a slower paced, more tactical RPG, to really get into the role play of it, to be able to think creatively. What's going on here? Ah, zombies. Okay. You can get some one-handed training out of this. Be sure not to whack anybody else on accident. Ooh, okay. Yeah, these zombies that come with the AE package, these guys are tough, man. They hit hard, they take a lot of punishment. The best you can hope for is to kite these guys out, use spacing. They are just Draugr, so they do have slow movement speeds and attack speeds. But man, if they do get through your defense, they hit like a truck. Oh, somebody disarmed me. Oh boy. There we go, another one-handed skill. let's do this. Star of the West is the unlockable once-a-day power you get from the Warrior Stone using the Andromeda mod for overhauling standing stones. Relentless zombie, huh?
Must have scared him off.
Fire would have been better, buddy, but I guess if you're a cryomancer, you don't really have a choice in the matter, do you? It's fun AF, huh? Maybe I'll look into it. I'll put it on my wish list. I'll look into it. Is it single player or is it multiplayer? Both? If you played Dragon's Dogma, I played the first one, was great combat, was not too easy, not too hard. I did play about 20 hours of the first one before I fell off and decided I just wanted to play Skyrim. That was back when Dragon's Dogma came out, and I'd already been playing Skyrim a lot at that point. It didn't stick for me. I think that the open world just wasn't as engaging as I wanted it to be. I enjoyed the combat. The combat in it was really good. And I did play about the same amount of Dragon's Dogma 2. I was really excited for that game because I was getting a little burnout on Skyrim at the moment, at that time. And then I was just looking for something new to play, and Dragon's Dogma 2 looked really good. But again, it was just the open world traversal kind of just got to me after a little while. There is a fast travel system in the terms of a carriage system, but the carriage system doesn't work like it does in Skyrim, where you have just these static carriage stops and you just kind of click on the carriage stop and you can go anywhere. You have to kind of wait for the carriage to appear. They kind of, in real time, in-game time, they travel back and forth, and you just kind of got to hitch a ride. There is a fast travel system in it, but you miss a lot of the game that way, and the combat was fantastic. There were things to find in the open world, but I just didn't find it engaging. A lot of people did. It might just be a personal preference thing. Like I said, Nobody and Dungeons really preferred New Vegas's open world, where I didn't. I preferred Fallout 3's. But a lot of that just comes down to the subjectivity of, okay, I like this better than this, you know? And I can't really put my finger on what it was. The Skyrim open world works out a lot better for me than the Dragon's Dogma did one. In fact, everybody kind of bemoans Starfield's open world, but as you can see, I played, what was it, like almost 490 hours on Starfield? And I feel more engaged in that world than I did in the Dragon's Dogma world, and Dragon's Dogma was very handcrafted. Dragon's Dogma 2 also has a lot of performance issues. I'm playing on a 4090 right now, and while I do get, 60 FPS-ish in open worlds and combat most of the time in Dragon's Dogma 2 in the cities, it would tank all the way down into the 40s, and that was tough to look at when you've been trained on high frame rates. If you have an okay time playing on 30 FPS, guys, never ever go up from there. Once you get trained on high frame rates, it's really, really hard to go back. If you're happy with 30 frames per second on games, count your blessings. You are lucky. Waiting on Crimson Desert looks great. Yeah, it does, actually. That is talking about engaging open worlds. There looks like to be all kinds of just random stuff that you can do in the world of that game. It looks very, very good. Did they add any new archetypes in Dragon's Dogma 2? Yeah, well, you have like your regular old, you have your archer, your mage, and your warrior. I think are the three main job types or vocations, I think they call them. But then you get sub-vocations, which are like subclasses that you unlock as you play. And those are very interesting. You get things like the Spear Hand, which is kind of like a spell sword, I would say. But it's a double-bladed spear that you wield, but you also have magic that you can cast. and there's like a lot of teleporting and everything that looked really sick as hell. And I was really trying to get there at some point, but never did. And then there's also like an arcane archer build that you get that's like a mesh of the archer and the mage. And as far as I remember, I didn't really get as far in Dragon's Dogma 1, but I don't think, maybe they added it in Dark Arisen or something, but I don't think they had stuff like that. Mystic Spearhand. Yeah, the Spearhand, that's the one that I was talking about. And I don't remember what, it was like a Mystic Archer or something. I don't remember what that subclass was called either. I have to wait to get a PS5 to play Dragon's Dogma 2 since I'm almost out of space on my PC. Yikes. Yeah, even the PS5 though, that's gonna lock you at 30 FPS. Or maybe they did a crappy unlocked version of that. Either way, the PS5 Pro is coming. That's a whole other conversation. PS5 Pro is coming, that's supposed to mitigate the fidelity versus performance versions and kind of meld them to where you get fidelity and performance. You get the fidelity modes, you just get to play them at 60 FPS, which is awesome. But that comes at a premium price tag of $700 US for that console, which is the most expensive console to ever release. Whether or not it's worth it is a matter for debate. I have thoughts on it. But with that, that's relevant to Dragon's Dogma 2 because they have said that they're going to patch that for the release of the PS5 Pro. Come on in. But they're going to patch that with performance fixes for all platforms, including PC and Xbox. So we'll see if that actually fixes the performance issues or if it just helps mitigate them. They've been dropping smaller patches for that game since it released to try to mitigate the CPU drag that it creates. That it's not the GPU that's killing it for Dragon's Dogma 2, it's the CPU. So apparently this new patch is going to significantly reduce the CPU load for that game, and maybe we'll get some better performance on consoles and PC for it. What am I doing in the inn here? I need to go back to Winterhold. All right, but let's stay here for the night. I can pay for a bed here and get some entertainment, or I can just we'll shack up with the companions. We are a companion. We were sworn in. We haven't done we haven't met with the Circle under the Skyforge yet. Wasn't the Neo Geo console more expensive when it came out? I don't remember. The Neo Geo, I think that topped out around $400 if I remember correctly, which was vastly more expensive than the $100 that you were spending on like an NES or a Genesis or even a Super Nintendo at that point. Let me look it up. Neo Geo release price. Ooh. Getting text from the doctor after getting scanned yesterday. I'm healthy. We're good. Let's see here. Neo Geo release price. That was prohibitively expensive back in the day. It was $600. Dang. Oh no, it was $650. It came out at $649.99. The PS5 Pro is going to be $699.99 US dollars. But adjusted for inflation, $649.99 in 2023 would have been $1,454. And prices have just gone up since then. Dang. Prohibitively expensive. Not adjusted for inflation, the PS5 Pro is more expensive. Sony got to make up for that Concord loss. Yeah. I don't know, man. There's no making up for that. You can go free to play and hope that even free to play. No, people, I don't think it was the upfront cost of the game that kept people from playing that game, right? It was just the lack of marketing, uninspired character design, there wasn't really anything compelling about it. It's a live service game that was released into a sea of other live service games. Even if it's good, people don't have time to play it. It has to, at this point, a live service, especially a hero shooter, a live service game, you either have to be the first to do something or the best to do something. And if you're neither, you're going to fail, right? And the hero shooter has been cornered until they come up with something brand new that revolutionizes the genre. You just have to be better than Overwatch. You have to be better than Valorant by like a significant amount to get people to stop playing those games and play that one. Yeah, live services, they do print endless money if you can corner the market on them, if you can corner your specific subgenre. But if you can't do that, then they're way too expensive to maintain, way too expensive to develop. It's going to take a while for you to build that player base up and get that repeated revenue stream, a consistent revenue stream. It takes a while. And there's a ton of upfront development costs to be able to get that running, not to mention just keeping the servers running is expensive. You can't just decide you're going to release this game and then get rich, right? Which I think is what Sony thought was going to happen with Concord, because it was supposed to be an Overwatch copycat. Yeah, it didn't happen. Live service is not the way to go. You have to have a compelling video. You have to have a compelling experience first and foremost. You can't design your game with live service in mind from the beginning and recurring revenue beginning at the floor level. You have to have a compelling gameplay experience first and foremost, and then from there you can build off of that. But if you don't have that, you don't have anything. Have you played Greedfall? Was a great game, better than Dragon Age Inquisition, which I think BioWare rushed and messed up. I think Inquisition was generally well received, even though it was rushed. I think fans of the previous games that probably weren't rushed can see Inquisition's shortcomings better than probably the general gaming audience. But I think Inquisition was generally well received, even though it was kind of touch and go there at the end of the development cycle for sure. That was not without drama, the development cycle for that game, and that's kind of when the producers and the publishers kind of, you know, take the driver's seat, when the creative directors and the developers should be helming the development process. That's the surest way to create a cursed development cycle, is to get the business people taking over the creative cycles. What the hell time is it now? 12:57 p.m. So it's about 1 in the afternoon. We had a long day. Don't judge Fortius for sleeping in, man. Okay, so we do have a morning ritual that we do every day. We go out, we pray to Ebonarm to get that devotion stat up. The higher our devotion levels, the more armor reduction our enemies get. That's a Winter Sun thing. I've thrown in with Ebonarm because Fortius as a warrior is all physical damage, and Ebonarm is all about armor reduction for your enemies. So it was kind of too good to ignore for this character concept. So we're gonna pray. We're at 182% favor, which is good. I think that equates to Jeepers. What does it equate to? Scholar's Insight. Ebonarm, where are you? Devotee of Ebonarm. Reduces the armor of enemies within 40 feet by 54 points based on Ebonarm. Not huge, but pretty good. Doubled against Daedra. That's kind of huge. So Dremora and Atronox, I think, are the big ones. I did play Greedfall. Going back to the Greedfall versus Dragon Age thing. I never played Inquisition. It's in my backlog. I will play it at some point. Veilguard looks really good, but I want to go back and play the original Dragon Age games first. I did play about 20 hours of Greedfall before I bounced off it. It just made me want to play Skyrim more. It's a common problem for me. Dragon's Dogma 1 and 2 both did that, and Greedfall did as well. It's like, I get 20 hours into it. I get to the point where, like, okay, I get it. I understand why people like this game, but I feel like I've gotten the experience I want out of this game, and now I just want to go play Skyrim some more. Do you know where the St. Alessia Shrine in Winter Sun is? Yeah, it's way out to the east in the Velothi foothills. I don't know if I found it in this game. I may have. It's right about here, if I remember correctly. It's up in the mountains. Okay, I'm trying to remember the name of the dwarven ruin that you go into the center of the room and it kind of traps you. The bars shoot up and it traps you in this like jail cell, and then the light orbs start spinning around you, and then the bottom opens out. It's kind of west southwest of there, kind of down the foothills. Saint Alessia is a fantastic Winter Sun deity to worship. Very good. Lots of synergy, lots of variability in the tool set that it gives you. Very cool stuff. I'm really curious to see how close I am now. I don't want to go to Kynesgrove yet because I don't kind of want to continue the main quest line. I'm supposed to meet Delphine in Kynesgrove right now and fight Solicanir. It would be really hard to avoid that fight if I'm going to go find St. Alessia now. I'd have to go to the Boethia Shrine and then kind of try to scale the mountain to the other side. Alessia allows for any of the 9 Divines buffs. Yep. Thanks for the stream. Bye. Regards. Hey, see you later, Paris. It was nice talking to you for a little bit. I love seeing new names in the chat. I use Arcade from Winter. Arcade is cool too. Arcade comes with some new gameplay mechanics with, you know, with the random spirits that you can release from the enemies that you kill. Oh yeah, the morning routine. We did Ebonarm. Now we have to shout. Kine is pleased with our actions, but the guards won't be. I'll take this helmet off.
For you, Red Legions, for I love you. I love.
You're either Hist or Sithis. Oh, you're one of those sneaky boys, aren't you? You're a little sneaky boy. Silent Echo. I guess it fits with the name. I guess we can't be surprised, can we? Okay, what's next here? I kind of want to head home right now. Geez, let's see. I really need to get back to Winterhold and drop off these books and kick off the rest of that quest line over there. But I do want to get home to Lakeview Manor at some point and do some inventory management, check out the if my plants are ready to harvest. Alchemy is lagging behind. I need to get Alchemy up. Now, as a pure warrior, I use Alchemy, but I don't perk into it. Alchemy is just all the crafting skills, really. They're too powerful to ignore for any class. If I am playing a vanilla Skyrim Legendary Let's Play or playthrough, crafting is always a part of those. Always. Because you don't get as much power through the perk trees as you do with Ordinator. There's more power that you get throughout the different Nyrim overhauls as well that you don't get in vanilla. but you can make up that power easily through crafting. And so if I'm doing a vanilla legendary playthrough, I will almost always start by getting those crafting trees completely leveled up and perked up, and then I will create my endgame gear first. I'll do some crafting loops between enchanting and alchemy, and then get my equipment all smithed up if I'm playing like a fighter class. And then I will go legendary on those crafting skills and put those perks to use elsewhere. But then I'll already have my endgame gear crafted up and ready to go for the rest of the playthrough. That's kind of the meta for legendary play if you're playing the vanilla game. Let's see, what are we doing? Let's head back to Winterhold. We'll just do a happy little hike through the province here. The Coffee Badger. Good afternoon to you two. Love your builds, by the way. I'm a mage build character, but always like watching others play different classes. Hey, yeah, different classes will help inform you sometimes and inspire you to make little changes and tweaks or hybridize your mage playthroughs. I prefer warrior playthroughs, but I'm playing a full mage just to, you know, at some point along the line, I'm gonna want to do a battle mage character or a spell sword character or some kind of hybrid character that those mage skills are really gonna come in handy, and they're really gonna help inform that mage side of that hybrid build in very interesting and powerful ways. So I do encourage people, if you are a fan of buildcraft in Skyrim. Jeez, my nose is itchy today, man. Gotta take an allergy pill or something. Yeah, we have some fires going on in the valley here, the Valley of the Sun in Arizona. They're all contained for the most part now, so nobody's really in any danger. But you know, we get the smoke from the huge California wildfires that are happening over there, and the smoke from our own, not to mention, you know, Metro Phoenix area is not the best place for pollution. So we have to deal with pollution advisories and stuff, along with the smoke and the dust that naturally occurs in the desert. So I got the itchy nose a lot of times. But yeah, I love, as I was saying earlier, you're like the third or fourth guy who has lurked on my build guides and stuff and has decided to come say hi today. That's awesome. I love seeing new names pop up in the chat. People who have been watching the builds get to say hi in real time. Come to love alchemy from playing a shadow scale. I use it all the time now. Picking plants has become second nature. Alchemy is the most powerful skill in the game. Vanilla, ordinator, otherwise, hands down. You can debate me on it, but you'll probably lose. Alchemy is the great equalizer in this game. If you feel a power gap with your class or your build that you're playing, you can always fix it with alchemy. You don't even need that much of perk investment in it. All you need is, you can cap out the level at 100 and you still get fantastic potions to buff whatever skills you use. Oftentimes by one or more perk levels. It's temporary, of course, and you have to go through the grind of finding the ingredients and getting that alchemy level up. But yeah, you don't even have to perk into alchemy for it to be fantastic. And it makes every single build in the game infinitely stronger, especially mages. Mages don't have a lot of ways to fortify their spell damage, right? In Ordinator, you can use the mastery perks in the different spell school skills trees, but you don't get that in vanilla. But what you do get are fortified destruction potions, which I think at very low level you can get a 20% damage boost to any destruction skill in the game, including weapon enchantments and things like that, which is pretty much a perk level, right? And then you just level that thing up a little bit, start dropping some perks and some enchanted crafting gear on top of it, get some alchemy and enchanting crafting loops going, you're gonna start nuking everything all the time just because of those fortified destruction potions. Alchemy's a beast, guys. Which is why I level it to 100 for pretty much every character I play. Alchemy, smithing, and enchanting is essential for all builds, in my opinion. Yeah, and I was just saying that actually, and in the vanilla game, legendary difficulty for sure. Yeah, that it's almost a necessity. And then at that point, once you get your endgame gear, you can go legendary on those skills and put those perk points into something a little more directly affecting your build and your playstyle. But getting that endgame gear first through those crafting skills is very, very strong, very powerful. Battle mages are fun. I played one in vanilla Skyrim and the journey was amazing. You got to try it on AE vanilla as Breton Ebony Spell Knight. Ooh, you're talking Ebony Spell Knight? That's the gear that I'm wearing right now with the fighter. It's just a cool set. This guy is not a hybrid. He's a pure warrior, right? But this set is just so damn cool. Let me see if I can find a better angle with the sun. Damn good looking set. And it goes well with accoutrements too, like for if you got like a modded cloak with physics on it. Damn, it looks sexy, man. It's too good. And even the helmet looks good. Better without, really, with most helmets in the game, but yeah, so many sets look great, and then you put the helmet on there, and all of a sudden he looks doofy, but yeah, absolutely fantastic set. I don't smith my weapons at all. I just use damage health or lingering damage health. Yeah, you don't need them. But if you don't want to use poisons, alchemy is still overpowered. Fortify one-handed, fortify two-handed, fortify archery. You can get that shit up real high. If you have any kind of damage shortcomings, even outside of sneak attacks, yeah, scales the damage really, really high just for taking a damn potion. And usually, once you find the right ingredients, you can plant them. They're common. You can find them anywhere, and you'll just have like an endless supply. I mean, I got stuff I'm not even using. I don't even have my stuff up to 100 yet. My alchemy skill up to 100. But let's see if I can find some of these potions. Fortify block, 27% more damage for 60 seconds, just on top of the ridiculous block numbers I already have. Archery, bows do 34% more damage. One-handed does 23. That's actually really low. But 23% is, I think it's more than a perk point. And that's on top of everything you already have. Your game looks like Crimson Desert a bit, especially the snow area. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Actually, I can't take any credit for the way my game looks. I just followed the Novice guide. I think it was probably 4 years ago now. It's an older Novice guide that I went through. It took me a good week of nights and weekends between my work hours to get this thing set up. And now you can get it on Wabbajack, and he's got an auto installer if you don't even want to use Wabbajack. But yeah, it was a lot of work to get the game to look like this, but I just followed a guide. Not a whole lot of creativity on my part, so I can't take much credit, but I did put a lot of work into it. Who are we fighting down here? I try not to play a mage without alchemy. Yeah. Oh, that's Wanderlust. She is from Interesting NPCs. She recently lost her son, and she decided to just, in her grief, the way that she's dealing with it is to travel the world, meeting new people. Kind of a cool NPC. I think you can take her on as a follower too, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, that's Anam Law that I'm thinking of. The Unarmored Knight. Also an Argonian. I keep getting recommendations for Nulvis and Lore Rim videos on YouTube. Yeah, absolutely stunningly beautiful lists that you can do. The reason why I picked Nulvis over something from Wabbajack. Okay, confession time here. I'm a filthy controller player. And a lot of the new moveset and animation mods that some of the Wabbajack lists are based on now, not compatible with controller, which sucks. But it's you know, it's worth it for me to be able to sit back and relax with a controller kind of in my hands in my lap. I can play a little pocket pool while I play Skyrim. It's all good. No, it's actually just much more comfortable on my posture. I have to sit in a work posture with my hands on my mouse and keyboard all day at work. And it doesn't feel great on my neck and my back. And my pussy and my crack. People who know. So yeah, it's just a much more relaxed posture for me. I can sit back and relax with a controller in my hand. It feels better on my neck, feels better on my back, and all the other things too. But also, I'm very Skyrim centric, and Skyrim is not compatible with those moveset mods as much, or other combat gameplay overhauls that a lot of those games like to use. Things like Requiem are very popular on Wabbajack as well, which I don't know. Lorem might be based on Requiem. Requiem's really damn cool, and I can tell why it has a lot of fans. I do intend on playing it someday, but right now I've kind of carved out a niche as an Skyrim builder, and I'm happy with that because there are still like an endless supply of ideas that ooh, is that an assassin creeping up on me? It is. I thought I saw a putty tat. Woo! He tried to hit me, but he couldn't hit me. I was like Morpheus, teaching Neo the ropes with Kung Fu. Came at me hardcore, but didn't get through the shield. That was a really quick forward-running power attack, though. But luckily for me, as an older gamer, my reactions are still on point. Not bad, if I do say so myself. Speaking of which, I do have the next video that I have coming out, which is a sort of a gameplay guide for getting more out of your melee combat in Skyrim. It will touch on some mods, but the tactics and strategies and stuff that I go through in that video are going to apply to vanilla as well. And I'm actually kind of proud of it. I have the whole thing, all the voice lines and everything, all recorded, ready to go. The main challenge for that now is just gathering the footage to illustrate the concepts that I go over in that guide. If I can get a couple, 2 or 3 solid nights to work on it, I think I can get it done. Just finding the time and the energy. It's all about time and energy, right? If I had infinite time and infinite energy, I would have so much content out on YouTube, but I don't, so I don't. But yeah, I'm actually really proud of how I was able to gather my thoughts. There are a lot of tactics and strategies that I use for melee that make this game so much more fun in that aspect, playing as a warrior. And it also looks better from a content point of view as well. Having more compelling looking gameplay, if you're putting your gameplay up either streaming or putting stuff up on YouTube, following these tactics will actually make your gameplay look better, which says a lot for Skyrim. Melee gameplay doesn't always look great, but if you know what you're doing and you're well practiced at it, it does tend to show through, regardless of how you're playing. Let's see, what's the guy's name? Wicked Wind, I think, has a channel. He doesn't post much anymore, but he used to post all the time, just little 2 to 3 minute gameplay snippets of him, you know, just fighting, doing stylish dungeon clears and stuff in Skyrim. Which this isn't really the game you want to be playing if you want stylish combat gameplay. But he made it look good, and he carved out a nice little niche for himself over there. It was really compelling. Gray Mischief, the same one. Yeah, same way. He does that too. Yeah, I'm subscribed to both of them. Big fan. Whenever they would pop up with a new video, I would watch. I added this mod that makes healing potions heal like Dark Souls, which adds challenge to my mage playthrough. So now I rely on restoration spells and magicka potions. Yeah, you're talking about a healing over time effect. There are a few different mods that do that, and it does change the flow of combat quite a bit. When you have to find a safe spot in order to heal, or even just the animation, some of them add animations. It's kind of the same concept, right? Either the healing over time effect, or the it locks you into an animation like Dark Souls or Elden Ring does. It does change the flow. If you have to find a safe spot to heal, that's much more challenging than just being able to mash a hotkey to heal instantly at any time. Did I miss my turn? No, I didn't. We're still going. I'm a controller player too, even on PC. Nice. Controller bros. Modding Skyrim is like having your own Lego set. Everyone has their own Lord Order, like their own thumbprint. Indeed. Absolutely indeed. And I really enjoy watching other people play their own Lego games, right? Their own Lego Skyrim. It gives me ideas for what to add to my own. At this point, after I'm inching up on 5,000 hours, which isn't as much as some people, but is a lot more than some people. It's definitely enough to be able to develop your sense of taste and what you do and don't like. So there is definitely a lot of that. I do know what I do like, and I do know what I don't like, but I don't know what I don't know. Somebody ought to quote that. That's a great quote. So if somebody is using a mod that maybe I have dismissed as something that I didn't like, but they're using it in a new way that maybe I didn't think of, or they're using a new mod that maybe I knew of that I just didn't see in action before, it didn't look compelling to me at the time, but now that I see somebody else using it in a specific way, now I really got to add it. Or just a completely new mod that I didn't even know about that now I need in a future load order because that shit looks sick. It's worth it to watch other people play the game. Because even though people's preferences might not match your own, there is still going to be a lot of overlap. You still do love the same game for probably a lot of the same reasons, right? So finding that common ground is a really good way to expand your enjoyment of this game. And to befriend people who maybe you don't see eye to eye with all the time. Just saying, world might be a better place. Okay. Dude, I was trying to help you. Oh, you should have said it faster, you know? Phantom Armor from Forgotten Magic Redone. Really powerful spell. Not useful for a pure warrior. I mean, I suppose it... that might actually fit into this archetype because it's not a spell you cast. It's a minor power that you can cast at will, and it drains magicka in place of health. A certain percentage of it anyway. So that might actually fit into this archetype, but I'm explicitly trying to avoid Forgotten Magic Redone spells for both this and my Pure Mage archetype. Because those spells tend to really just take over a build. They end up getting way too strong. You can't ignore them. They add a lot more mechanics, so they are far more engaging than vanilla skills and spells. Forgotten Magic Redone is awesome, but I want to save those for specific Forgotten Magic Redone build, and then I can start incorporating them into more hybrid builds once I have a base level of knowledge on them. Hey, there's Boone23. Boon23, congratulations to this guy. He is another fellow YouTuber. He's got a small channel. He has just hit the 1,000 subscribers mark. He's been working on that for years. He does a lot of vanilla gameplay challenges, kind of like if you know Major Slack and how he sets up these gameplay challenges on legendary difficulty, and then he kind of walks you through the strategies and tactics that he's going to use to achieve his goals. Boon is a lot like that, but Boon also has a lot of talent for both video and audio production that Major Slack does not. And he's just an all-around pretty good guy, I think. I'm a Boon23 fan. Go check out his channel. And send him a congrats. It's an awesome achievement. It's hard to do. I'm speaking from experience. YouTube is hard, guys. YouTube is really hard. You don't know. It's not just throwing on a screen or turning on a stream and playing a video game. That's how most people who have designs on YouTube do it, or Twitch. And for some people that works out great, but for other people who are trying to get their channels to take off, it's a lot of work. And the YouTube algorithm does not always play nice. So to be able to grow your channel organically just based on the quality of your content, and let's face it, okay, video gaming on YouTube is niche. It does have a large audience, but compared to the general audience with these, you know, these TikTokers who are doing YouTube shorts that are just complete brain rot, the Mr. Beast stuff that gets, you know, most of the views on YouTube. Video game channels are niche compared to all that. And then Skyrim specifically is also niche. And then vanilla Skyrim on top of that is also even more niche, as is modded, but it's a different sub niche of the Skyrim niche, which is a sub niche of the gaming niche. So you're very nested niched. So to be able to scrounge up 100 subscribers just on the basis of your own sort of the quality of your own content without, you know, succumbing to the sort of grimy nature of online advertising and trend following and hate clicks and clickbaits and hate baits and hate clicks and things like that, it's something worth celebrating. So happy 1,000 to Boon23. Mr. Beast is done. I don't know. I feel like he's still got a shit ton of money, man. I don't follow the trends. I have no interest in it. So if Mr. Beast did something or didn't do something and now has is not getting the views that he used to do, I wouldn't know. But he does have a tried and true procedure of how he beat the algorithm, and it is effective. How dare you? Vanilla Skyrim on legendary difficulty is a niche of a niche of a niche. It is actually true, yeah. I don't think you can argue. It was super hard, took exceptional patience in resisting the temptation of taking the easy road. Yep. It's a big deal, man, of course. I like to add attitude to my character by liking and disliking certain spells instead of collecting all the spells out of just collecting. Yeah, like if you you say you're a mage specialist, right? Yeah, so if you're gonna specialize in something like that, you really gotta add some seasoning, right? Through roleplay and gameplay and all that jazz. I don't know if you know about Character Crusade and Couch Warrior TV, Coffee Badger, but I learned a lot about roleplay, and I'm not really, I'm not showcasing my roleplay chops at all this stream because, you know, we're just kind of hanging out and talking. It was supposed to be a slower paced roleplay stream today, but it ended up not being. We're just chilling with our homies over here. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but I actually can roleplay quite well and effectively, and I get a lot of satisfaction from doing that on my own. And I've learned all of it from Couch Warrior TV and Character Crusade. And the Panic Monk, who is sort of 1/2 to 1/3 of the Character Crusade, he's a regular audience member here too. He hangs out quite a bit. At least it's not an immersion stream. Yeah. I'll tell you what though, if it were an immersion stream, I'd be putting Fortius's biceps to shame. No, that's all talk. I can't back that up at all. I wish. Let's see. Got to check out Couch Warrior TV. Yep, we got a lot of Couch Warrior fans in here. But if you want roleplay tips, if you feel like you want to get more out of your game, it sounds like you got a pretty solid handle on it already. But if you're of the mind that you always have more to learn, there is definitely a lot to be learned from Character Crusade and Couch Warrior. Just on the entertainment value alone, a lot of Couch Warriors series are pretty top notch. But the real value of his channel is he shows you how to roleplay this game and how to get more out of it, out of a game that you probably already love. Win said you should have photoshopped your face onto the body for the Discord. Yes, I should. I absolutely should. Maybe I'll try that. Give me something to work on this weekend. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do it. My Photoshop skills aren't fantastic. I can do some stuff for just YouTube thumbnail creation here and there and just editing Skyrim screenshots, but I feel like I can do it. I can make it happen. Plus, you know, fun stuff. Yes, indeed. Let's see, you can play Skyrim, and especially modded Skyrim, in 1,000 different ways. Absolutely. More than 1,000. I kind of feel like it's limitless, right? There are millions of people with millions of ideas, and those ideas are not like discrete ideas, right? There's not a certain amount of ideas that people are going to have. Now, a very small percentage of those ideas are actually good or feasible, but they can be implemented in at least some way, shape, or form.
I don't want to see you.
And when you just think about the staggering permutation of all the people who play this game, all the people who mod these games, and all the people who have ideas for this game, yeah, it's pretty much infinite. Which is why people are still playing it 13 years later. Replayability of Skyrim is limited to your imagination. Yeah, and if you get bored of all the different mods out there, make your own. Mod authoring Skyrim is very accessible. Look at a few tutorials. It's going to take some time, but the creation kit is actually very doable for somebody with no development experience whatsoever. Once you get into the papyrus scripting part of it, it takes some coding chops, and you know, some knowledge of programming is going to help you out a lot there. But even that, you can learn.
Night of Tears, eh? I remember this.
If you know logic,
well, isn't that
which most people do inherently,
you yourself?
You can code.
If I recall it correctly, that has some interesting.
Some people have more of a knack for it than others.
But, you know. To Toldir.
Warm Sands, Karn, and chat. This one is back. Hey, all right. If I remember correctly, you had like your son over to visit, or you're visiting your son, or something like that. You had some guests in from out of town, I think, Tom, that you were entertaining. You haven't been around for as much as you usually are. But if you're back, then we're glad to have you. This one enjoys Tom Mole's company. Coffee Badger's got to go. Take care, everyone. Okay, thanks for popping in. Love seeing new names pop up in chat. I like the idea of people watching my build guides and then stopping in and saying, "Hey, dude, love your build guides." Just, it makes my day, you know? It's awesome. I've been actually getting some of that lately, even on my comments on some of my YouTube. So it's just a really good feeling to know that you're making a positive impact in somebody's life. For your stupid Skyrim YouTube channel, you know? You can be good, you can be bad, you can have new definition of good or bad or whatever. The Greybeards are a perfect example of that. They don't judge. Except if you're a blade. Right. Everybody has their hate kink, I think. Guests are gone home now. Nice. Yeah, I mean, regardless of how much you love the people that are staying with you, it's always
Hundreds
nice to
of years
get them
have
the hell
gone
out of
into
your house,
assembling
right?
this collection. It's going
Give me
to
my
stay
life back.
pristine, understand?
How's the start a weak winter going? Oh yeah, UK folks. We haven't started winter here at all. We are 99 degrees here. It probably will end up being 100 after all is said and done. But I think we're actually under 100 next week for the first time in so very, very long. It's going to be very nice for us. Okay, what the hell am I supposed to do here? Speak with Tolfdir about the Night of Tears. Will do. Made a positive impact on mine, carrying on the legacy of Couch Warrior. Love your streams, are good for background noise and playing along Skyrim with. Sweet. Awesome, man. Glad to hear it. Makes my damn day. Fills my cold, dead heart. Hosting is very tiring. It is. Only 53 Fahrenheit? Oh, so jealous. I want it. I'll even take the overcast, the rain, any of that you want to give me. I'll take it. I'll trade you some sunshine for some of that stuff. Been very cold for Tom. Oh, sleeps in blossoms. All right. Tolfdir. Let's see. Where is Tolfdir? Tolfdir is studying his blue ball. He's wondering what went wrong with this gigantic blue ball. Well, I can tell you how it happens, Tolfdir, but you're not going to want to hear it, and neither are your students. Ooh, 69 degrees.
Good
Nice.
to see you. Did he now? Does he have information about our wonderful discovery?
There was a lot of rain too, but it seems to be warming up a bit. Don't know how much it's gonna stay. So are you welcoming the cooler temperature over there, James? Or are you dreading it? I know the gloomy weather over there is not your guys' cup of tea because you deal with it all the damn time. I work with some people in the UK and they're pretty much ho-hum about the weather because it's always cloudy and usually rainy. But like I said earlier, I'm born and raised in the desert here, and the sun, just that rainy, gloomy weather is just so nice for me. Found a certain book,
Is
Night
that
of
the one
Tears.
about something buried beneath Sarthal? Something that men and Mare fought over? I'll have to make a point of rereading it. I don't recall the details. I just can't seem to tear myself away.
But warm
Whatever
autumn
this
weather is returning,
its beauty is
68
like
degrees
nothing
Fahrenheit. That
I've ever
sounds really
seen
nice.
before. If you'd allow me to indulge myself.
I
for a
am
moment,
because I'm a northerner
I thought I
that
might
other
make
people
a
feel
few
different. Okay.
observations. I'm sure you've
So you are
already
looking forward to
noticed
the cooler weather.
markings.
That's good.
They're quite unlike anything we've seen before.
Better to look forward than back.
Daedric,
Better to look forward to
Valor.
good times than back at
None
the
of
good
them
times
are
you already had.
much. Quite curious indeed. No, I'm not sure that you're quite.
We
as
finally got
determined
some
as I
rain
am,
down in
given my
Essex.
extensive years of experience. But can you feel that? This marvelous object. It practically radiates magicka.
Jeez, my nose is really itchy. Does that mean
anything I've felt before?
some people say that means somebody's talking about you, right? If your nose itches.
I'm afraid I must
No,
intrude. It is urgent that I speak with your associate immediately.
Somebody's been talking about me all day, that's for sure.
We're involved in serious research here.
If that's the case.
Yes, I've no
So is
doubt
it
of
true
its
that it
merits.
hardly
This,
ever
however, is a
rains
matter
at
that
your...
cannot
Yes,
wait.
very
Well,
true.
I'm quite sure I've never been interrupted
Um,
like this before. The
I think in the
audacity.
last
I
6
suppose we'll
months,
continue this at some later
at my
time,
house,
when we
it
can
rained
avoid interruptions.
I need you to come with me
significant
immediately.
rain,
Let's
maybe
go.
3 times. And not for very long. Maybe like an hour or 2. Or maybe 3 overnight or whatever, but
Really?
yeah, that's it.
Will allow me to clarify the situation. I'd like
We
to
get
know
most
why
of
there's
our
someone
water
claiming to
here
be from the city
from
here in the
folks,
college.
or not folks in
I'd
Colorado,
like to know why he's
but
asking for
snowfall
you
in
specifically.
Colorado
So
that
we're
then
going to
melts,
go have a
and
little
then
chat with you
the
and find
runoff
out
of that
exactly
feeds
what
the
it is he
Colorado
wants.
River, which then feeds our water supply here. So if Colorado droughts or has less snowpack one year, then we got to deal with less water. And Colorado is in the Rocky Mountains, just north of us. Why are you so concerned about this?
I'll be the one asking.
3 times.
All you
Did not
need
have to
know
water my
is that
plants
the
for the
city
entire
border is a
summer.
rogue
So much
organization,
rain. Yeah,
believing
we have
themselves to be
to
above the
basically
law.
import a lot of
They have
water from
clashed
other
with
places in the
ordinary
country just to
dominion
be able to
before,
live
but I
here.
have no intention of allowing that to happen here.
Which is why a 40-year drought becomes a major concern for civilized life in a certain
I said
area.
let's go.
I am going. Where do you think I'm doing, Ancano? No. I'm going. Jeez. Uppity high elves, I swear. Oh, now who are we waiting for? You turd. Merrick Turd over here. Okay. You didn't like coming in through that door, so now you want to come in through the other one? Acts like everybody else is stupider than he is, and then pulls some crap like this. Swear to God. If only there were like some kind of cathartic way to kill Ancano later on in this quest line. Not in the cards, I don't think. But if only there were... I know. Being sarcastic. Currently 63 and dry. 63 Fahrenheit, I'm guessing, right? Yeah, 63 Celsius you'd probably be dead. And nighttime, of course. Oh, geez. All right, what is this Duber doing? Econo.
Now, you are going to speak to this monk and find out why he is here.
Oh,
And then
I
he
see.
will be
You wanted to
removed
give me a
from
pep
college
talk
grounds.
before I went in. You wanted to dictate the means of communication between me and this person that neither of us know. You're not in charge here. You're not in charge here, Ancano. I googled it to have the Fahrenheit temperature. Okay. Well, I mean, as an ignorant American, I do appreciate the conversions.
Please do not be alarmed.
But someone from the
I mean
UK
no harm.
and someone from Germany, speaking in terms of Fahrenheit,
It is good to meet you in person.
it wouldn't make sense anywhere else. But I appreciate it. Let's see here. What's going on? What happened to everyone? What happened to
I'd
anyone?
simply like to
Yeah,
talk
he's
to
not
you.
really
I've
magically
given us
minded.
a chance to speak privately, but I'm afraid I can't do this for long. You
Yeah, I
must
bet
be
this is
brief.
pretty taxing,
The
huh?
situation here at your college is of dire importance, and attempts to contact you, as we have previously, have failed. I believe it is due to the very source of our concern.
Ooh, I need
This
some more
object,
caffeine, I think.
The Eye of Magnus, as your people have taken to calling it. The energy coming from it has prevented us from reaching you with the visions you have already seen. The longer
We're
it
used to
remains
metrics,
here,
it seems.
the more
Okay.
dangerous the situation becomes. And so I have come here personally to tell you it must be dealt with.
You guys do have a mix of metric and imperial, don't you? I think most people here in the States We understand that metric is superior, but we just can't be bothered to change at this point. We know it's better, but we're not changing our ways. Sorry. And a lot of that's tied up with industry too, and the cost of changing all the equipment over to use metric measurements instead of, you know, the imperial system. If this is dangerous, then why don't you do something about
I'm
it?
afraid it's not that simple. You must understand the Psijic Order does not typically intervene directly in events. My presence here will be seen as an affront to some within
Shows
the
how
Order.
divided this world
As soon as we have finished,
still is.
I
Too
will
many
be
systems,
leaving
too many
your
languages,
college.
too
I'm
many
also aware
time
that my
zones. Let's get rid of
arrival
time
aroused
zones.
suspicion,
We don't need time
especially in
zones.
Onkano, your former
The world has been globalized to the point
Nevertheless,
where
my
we can
order
all
will
operate
not
on one
act
global
directly.
time zone, and it would
Take
make
it upon
so many
yourself
things
to
so
do
much
so.
easier for so many people. It makes too much sense. Let's do it. No time zones. And daylight saving time is stupid. Let's get rid of that. That would be step one, and then we can get rid of time zones after that. I think most people in here, the States, know most other metrics. We just don't like to show off. Oh, because we're so humble. You're so humble, Magus. You don't want to show off how smart you are. Yeah. No, I mean, it's... Okay, we can say that something is... We can say that something's 8 inches, and we know how long that looks. We know what that looks like, right? We can't say that something is 90 centimeters and really know it, inherently how long that is. You know what I'm talking about. Like, we can also say, oh, I can picture a size
We do not have
13
much
shoe
time.
in my mind. I can't picture, you know, whatever sizing system they use in Europe. We know it's bigger. Only 8 short, yeah. No, I mean, we were talking about being humble, right? Humble Americans? It's all in the name of humility. Glad you're here, buddy. All right. Why should I trust you or your order? What exactly
As
is
you
the
may have
problem? We're
learned,
pragmatic.
this object,
Fortius
the
is
eye,
pragmatic.
is
Nothing if not
immensely
pragmatic.
powerful.
This guy
The
is
world is not ready
definitely
for it. If it
smarter
remains
and
here,
more
it will
respectful
be
than
defeated.
Ancano, so
Indeed,
right away he's
many
gonna
in the
give him
Order
the
believe
benefit
it
of
has
the doubt where he
already.
wouldn't with
Rather,
Ancano.
something will happen
You
soon,
get vibes about
something
people,
that
you
cannot
know?
be avoided.
Elf, human, beast race, you still get vibes. Americans are definitely humble. Yeah, we only pack our small guns on us. We don't want to make everybody else feel bad about the size of our guns that we have back at home. Funny that NASA uses metric. Because it makes sense. It's superior in most ways. It's just most Americans can't eyeball centimeters where we can eyeball inches or feet.
We believe that your efforts should be
Dick
directed
jokes.
towards
Hey,
dealing with the aftermath.
Acid Rain, she's got like a
cannot
sixth
predict what that
sense
will be.
for
I fear
dick
I have
jokes. I
already
feel like
overstepped
we're
the bounds
always
of my order.
are
But I
really
will
dipping
offer
into the
this.
bottom barrel with
Seek
these
out the
ridiculously
Order of
gross
Dunlane
jokes,
here
and then
at the
Acid Rain
college.
appears
His
like a
perception may
like a
be more
dirty genie.
coherent than ours.
Welcome, Mel. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, you do? Great. That's actually impressive. I respect that. My dong is 22.86 centimeters. Well, that doesn't sound humble at all. Let's see. How is the Augur of Dunlane? Who is he? Well, how is he? Tell me how he's doing.
He was once a student here at the college. Now he is something different.
8 inches is not a joke. That is no joke. And here Boone 23 is a German with a sense of humor. Who would have thought, right? Let's see. Why should I trust you or your order? Nah, we're getting vibes.
I am unsure.
Doing better. Thanks
He is
for asking.
somewhere
That's
within
good.
the college. Surely one of your colleagues must know his location. I am sorry I cannot provide you with further help.
Euro
This
shoe size is a
conversation
pain in the
requires
ass.
a great deal of effort on my part.
See, internet is a great place.
Now,
I agree.
I'm afraid
I like
must
the
leave
internet.
you. We will continue to watch over you and guide you as best we can.
Not always
It
a
is
good
within
place, but
you
always
to
entertaining
succeed.
for sure.
Never forget that.
You're the most funny German of them all.
Where were you about?
Maybe
What is the
because your
name of
mom
this?
is Austrian?
I'm
There
sorry,
you go.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Don't.
Because Austrians are also
You
known for their
asked
sense
to
of
see a
humor.
specific member of the college. Here he is. Now what is it that you want?
There's been a misunderstanding. Clearly, I should not be here. I shall simply take my leave.
What? What trickery is this? You're not going anywhere until I find out what you're up to.
I am not up to anything.
Some
I
dude gaming. You
apologize
thought
if
we
I
were all
offended
about
you in any way.
Skyrim builds here, weren't you?
We
You didn't
will
know.
see about this.
We're bottom of the barrel comedians, all of us. Lowest common denominator. Every single time. Come to support Karn, stay for the dick jokes and innuendos. Absolutely. Christopher Waltz is very funny. And Arnold is hilarious. Yeah, Arnold's funny in his own niche, I suppose. I feel like a lot that Arnold does that's funny, he doesn't really mean to be funny. But no, he actually does have a good sense of humor about things. I like Arnold. Christoph Waltz. You reminded me, there's this obscure video. I don't know where it came from. The video is called Der Humping, and it has Christoph Waltz in it. Der Humping. Der Humping. And I feel like it's German humor at its finest because it's weird as hell, but it makes me laugh so hard. Hold on, let me see if I can find Der Humping. Is it on YouTube? I hope so. Okay. Here we go. You guys ready for the most amazing thing you're ever gonna see? The video quality on this is pretty bad. Yes, it is. They're humping. Boone knows. I'm not gonna set this up at all. Just watch, listen, and let your life be changed.
Ah, eine Lampe. Der Humping. Ah, ein Telefon. Der Humping. Eine kleine vierseitige hawaiische Gitarre. Der Humping. Der Humping.
There you go. Oh no, they went there with the sheep? Epic. Guys, Germans are actually funny. That video haunted me for weeks of my life. I couldn't think about anything else. Right? I don't know that I'm gonna stop thinking about it now that I've seen it again. Man. You guys, I should not have let you guys coerce me into playing that. I didn't want to play it. You guys made me. And now it's stuck in my head again. Thanks for showing me this piece of art. That was art. That's what I was saying earlier. Art is not objective. It's subjective, whether it's good or bad. It's gonna haunt me too. There you go. What a fever dream of a video. Yes. Indeed. It was beautiful. It was beautiful art. Der Humping. Man, I gotta source some pink ribbons now because, well, never mind. I was about to breach terms of service there. Where the hell am I going? What the hell am I doing? I need to find Tolfdir so I can talk to the augur. Kind of like Shrek is love. Is that another video? I don't know, Silent. You're into some weird shit. I don't know if I can play one of your recommendations on my stream.
Good to see Skyrim still has such fine people. You give an old man hope.
Nothing you cannot hump. Hey, as long as you can stick a ribbon to it, you can hump it. And that is der humping. You can breach my terms of service any day. Oh my god. Giving me the vapors over here.
Well now, there's a name I haven't heard in some time. My goodness, it's been years since I've spoken with him. I suppose he's still down in
Well,
the
there you go. You guys
Are you
are
going to see
welcome
him?
for being introduced to der humping.
Underneath the
The thing you were missing that you didn't even know you were missing in your life. And now,
please do be careful.
you have a der humping size hole filled in your soul. You will never be without der humping anymore. And you have me to thank for it. You are complete, yes, see? It's also a good substitute for therapy. If you ever feel like you need somebody to talk to, you don't. If you ever feel like you need to, take pills, you don't. Just watch der humping. It solves everything. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't hold me liable for any of that. It just makes the world a better place in every way. Things you can do with ribbons, indeed.
Well,
Augur.
I suppose he wouldn't mind.
We were playing Skyrim at some
It was all
point
before my time,
today.
you understand. I've heard the
Seems like it was a
story.
long time ago, but we
Same
were
as
playing
anyone
Skyrim.
else. He was a brilliant student. An
You
accomplished
randomly
wizard,
found that video when you were a
delved into
kid?
magic in a way none had seen before.
So glad you shared this
But I
piece of
think
art. So
he
many people
became
didn't
too
know about it. I'm
focused
shocked,
on just how much
actually.
power he could acquire.
It's like Austrian
That's
Monty
what led
Python,
to
just
the
so silly. Yeah, it is.
Do you remember
That's a
what I
good
first
way to
told
describe
you
it.
about how not being able to control magic could destroy you? I didn't simply mean it could kill you.
No, I went over to my
The
friend's
August
house one day,
accident is
and
another
he and his
very
brother
real
were sitting there at the
type
computer,
of
and I came in, they were like,
Well, it's been described.
you need to
as
watch
an
this
accident.
video. And they were completely stone-faced me, right? They're
Something
like,
must have gone wrong.
I'm not going to tell you
They
anything
ended up
about
in
this
a state
video.
that's in
I
doubt.
want you to watch it, and then I want to hear your thoughts on it.
That flow through
And I
the
couldn't
soul.
tell him my thoughts on it
I've
because I
never
was
felt it
crying, laughing,
appropriate
and
to
sweat
ask
was
him
just pouring off my head because it
about
was
how
the
that
most
must
amazing
feel.
thing that I've ever seen.
I suppose.
It got me all up in my
if you
feels.
feel it all.
I never really recovered, really. Okay. Augur of Dunlane. Augur, barely even knew her. Ba-dum-tsh. Do you give respect to Christoph Waltz? Acting is amazing and mostly. Yes, Christoph is great. So he was amazing in Inglourious Bastards, I think is where he made his kind of big American breakout debut, but I'm sure he was around for a while before that. And then Inglourious Bastards, there was another Tarantino one, Django Unchained. He was great in both of them. He went from playing like the most hated character in all of cinema to playing like the most beloved character in all of cinema, I think. At least for me. Shows off a lot of range. He's a fantastic actor. One of my faves. Kind of like the Austrian... who's the guy who played Hal and Malcolm in the Middle and then played Walter White? Bryan Cranston. He's the Austrian Bryan Cranston. Amazingly talented actor, great sense of humor, very wide range. He plays bad guys, he plays good guys, he plays goofy humor, he plays serious parts. I think it's a good comparison. They don't look much alike, but in terms of talent. When Quentin brought Christoph on the set of Inglourious Basterds, he told him that he should play it massively down during the reading to surprise the actors during the scenes. Oh, he was legitimately scary in that movie. He was very terrifying. Christoph Waltz was the one major missing piece for Inglourious Basterds. Without him, Quentin would not have made the movie. Yeah, that movie was Christoph Waltz. I'm running Immersive College of Winterhold, which kind of adds a lot to the grounds here. I wonder how much of this stuff, because this has a riften door on it. I think it might just be a reused asset, but there might also be some significance to the crossed daggers on there. There's also a smithy sign over here. I wonder if you can populate the midden down here with more stuff with Immersive College of Winterhold. I need to look into it. Maybe do a playthrough or a guide on it at some point. Because I'm sure tons of people use Immersive College of Winterhold and just don't know half of what it does. And I am in that boat. And Christoph Waltz is Spectre and No Time to Die, to my favorite act I've seen from him. He was in a Bond movie? Maybe I didn't see those ones. He would fit right in, though. He would fit right in. Okay, I went the wrong way. All right, we have to trek through the midden dark down here to just talk to the augur and you know, kick off the next leg of this quest. But I think I'm gonna end it here. I'm getting hungry. I gotta go eat something. But thank you guys for hanging out. This was a really fun stream. I had a good time, especially with the dick jokes. You know I love them. So yeah, if you liked this, we're a pretty tight-knit community. There is lots of content like this from a lot of the people that you see in chat right here. I shouted out Boone23 for hitting his 1,000 subscriber mark, so check him out on YouTube. Magus was here. He's got his awesome sort of like Nightblade playthrough going right now with Athralor, the Dark Elf. Very cool stuff going on over there. I've been able to make a few of his streams this week where I haven't been able to earlier. Really enjoying that character. Classic for him. His link is in the description below. Do check that out. Leave him a follow. Same with the Wind. I think she's been playing survival stuff like 7 Days to Die and some Phasmophobia and stuff with some friends. But she does touch on the BGS stuff now and then when the mood strikes her. So yeah, follow her. I'm a big fan of the Wind. Who else was here that I'm missing? I got Boone, I got Magus, I got the Wind. I think that's about it, guys. Yeah, there are also more links in the description below. All people that I recommend and all people that you'll probably see me pop up in chats or comments on videos. So we all kind of run in those circles. If you want to hang out more, that's where you'll find me. All right, that's it for me, guys. Have a good weekend and take care. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. 8 inches is not a joke. And on that bombshell, all right, see you.